Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Although Myers slips and just tried to get rid of the ball, turned it over, and Butler is going to pay it off at the other end.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Yes, I mean, we, not only last night, but also the times that we played them last year, they were very, very close games. The last game we played them was overtime game. So I think our guys and our staff, we have a lot of respect for their program.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
And he loads up a long one down the sideline, single coverage. Great reaction by Snead, but it's waved off incomplete on the coverage from Keandre Thomas. Now let's see. Oh, they do say catch.
It's a completed pass.
It's a completion for Snead.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this blustery Friday afternoon. January the 15th of 2021. And if you look at the set today, Paul Catalina to my left, David Smoak, Craig Smoak to my right in front of Craig are beautiful yellow roses from Paula McReynolds, one of our listeners who is constantly in touch with us, as this is our 200th show on SicEm365 Radio. It's hard to imagine, but 200. And April the 6th, Paul, when we were upstairs at your house to where we are with this incredible brand new studio. Dick Vitale will start us off in about 5 minutes today. News about Kim Mulkey. Won't know until tomorrow that she's going to be able to coach against Iowa State. We'll have a couple of updates on my end on that. And Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes today available to the media, much to get to. And yes, Tommy Brashear is no longer the AD football coach at Yo, as I kind of alluded to yesterday. Craig, 200 shows on SicEm365 Radio.
Yeah, here we are, 200, and it's been quite the ride and quite the last few months, and just glad to be here.
You know what, we should throw a party for the next one on the 365th show.
So that's a full 1 year on the calendar.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to plan that out. I mean, you know, I'm thinking.
We didn't plan much out for today other than the fact we have a great lineup and we appreciate the flowers. Armstrong, Sims, how many have you done? About 100?
I think maybe about 100.
Yeah.
I think when I came in, I think we were in single digits. Does that make sense?
Double digits.
No, I think we were maybe in single digits, but maybe not.
No,
I mean, we're
definitely had done more than
we were in single digits for 9 shows.
Oh, I mean double digits. Yeah, I'm off. I'm off today.
Yeah.
It's 200 of these.
Yeah. So
Man, there's a lot to get to. By the way, I can't wait to talk to Grayson. Grayson just flooded the premium section today. Baylor has been throwing out offers after offers and even a preferred walk-on and a player down in the Austin area, among much more. He'll join us today at 3:45. Also, we'll hear from Dave Aranda on the following topics. The fact that he was able to make a coaching change, it's not that he needed to, it's that he wasn't afraid to make it. And kind of what went into that. Also, his thoughts about what's the status of offensive lineman Blake Bettier. Jeff Grimes on Blake Shapen playing baseball and football. He's dealt with that before as a quarterback coach or as an offensive coordinator, at Brigham Young. Plus, we'll update you. Alito leads Crosby 35-14. They start the second half in the 5A Division II game. Much to get to. We'll also today hear from Jason King, Cedar Hill's Carlos Lynn, and also replay Jeff Grimes from our interview on Wednesday. Craig, have you looked at what Grayson's posted up? All sorts of nuggets.
No, I haven't. I've seen a lot of offers going out, but I haven't looked at his stuff specifically, no. But they've been very active, obviously, and getting onto the 2022 class, and I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff out there.
We'll have Dickie V in a moment. One other note, couple of other notes in basketball. Oklahoma State, that game in the Big 12 men's basketball has been postponed, set for tomorrow. Number 2 Baylor, of course, playing at Texas Tech in a classic game that will be up in Lubbock tomorrow. Now, what Bill Brock said earlier today, we'll have more about this a little bit later on. Paul, you were a part of that, also that media session, is that they will not know if Kim Mulkey is a part of that game against Iowa State as a coach until tomorrow. Based on it sounds like to me that she still has symptoms, but that the testing protocol. And I'm not so sure if Baylor was trying to play coy or not. Also with how many players, they have enough players per Big 12 protocol to play the game. And then again, this could be that they've been kind of riddled with this.
Yeah, and that's what Kyle Robart said when he read the statement early on, was they are compliant with that number right now. And again, that's pretty much what everyone has to say. Right now, you're compliant with a number. 6 hours from now, you may not be compliant with a number. So it's just how this has been. Ever since they had the game with UConn that was last Thursday canceled. And then, of course, a couple of conference games since that time. Urban Meyer is official. He is the head coach with Jacksonville. Robert Saleh, Paul, is the head coach now, the new coach with the Jets. And it looks like the Falcons are close to hiring Tennessee offensive coordinator Arthur Smith. So good news, Houston Texans. Nobody else has hired Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah,
so go hire him.
Yeah, and then Keontae Ingram, the former Texas running back, is in the transfer portal. He's the young man that was very successful in high school at Carthage High School as well. So those are some of the stories. I also saw a story today in the premium section, and Grayson interviewed a young man, an offensive line grad transfer from Harvard, who has an offer from Baylor. So there's a lot of juice from Grayson. We'll have that today with him at 3:45. Plus, we'll hear again, as we mentioned, from Dave Aranda in just a moment. Craig, your thoughts on anything other than, did you get a chance to listen in on Coach Aranda a little bit?
Yeah, I listened to Aranda and Grimes, and I think Grimes said a lot of what he said with us the other day. I don't think there was anything too much new there. I mean, maybe one or two things, but it was pretty much a lot of questions that were questions we asked the other day. So, with him, not so much, but with Aranda, obviously there was a lot to unpack there that I'm sure we'll get to.
All right, we are now joined by the great, the Hall of Fame, the legend himself. Stick your head in a tank of gasoline and light it with a match full throttle with Dickie V, Dick Vitale of ESPN on Sic'em365 Radio. Coach, as always, thank you so much for being a part of the show. When you watch Baylor and you know the job Scott Drew's done over and over again, what do you see about this team that makes it even more special?
Well, I think they excel on both sides of the floor, offensively and defensively. I think they're the only team out there that's rated in the top 4 by Ken Pomeroy in terms of efficiency, offensively and defensively, and that's a rarity. When you really cover both those areas, you got a chance to beat anybody. I think they're the best defensive team, Dave. I think they're the best defensive team in the nation. I think Gonzaga is the best offensive team in the country, and I think they're the best defensive team. But they got a real battle on their hands tomorrow. I really believe that. I think when you look at Texas Tech coming off that big win over Texas, beating them at the end of the game, Mac McClung hitting that clutch shot, certainly gives them a little high coming back home and have a chance they're hoping for a magical week. I mean, they're hoping like hell to have a magical week by beating Texas and Baylor. That would be quite an achievement. Now, Baylor's not, Baylor's so tough, it's unreal. Your guard play, I think you get the best guard combination in basketball. When you look at the 4 guards as a group, those 4 guards together, I don't think anybody can match those 4.
I know that you talked to Coach Drew recently, just when we were on the phone just now. You said that you talked.
1 minute ago.
Are you are a person who is unchained enthusiasm about basketball, and Scott Drew is as well. Would you consider yourself kindred spirits, cut from the same cloth?
I really don't know. I love his spirit. I love his energy, enthusiasm. The other day, we were having a great conversation. He was in his first snowball fight ever in Waco, he said, with his kids. They were throwing snowballs at each other, and it was a blast out there for him. Well, I came, to Florida. I used to live in Michigan. We had a lot of snowball fights in Michigan.
Dickie V, they got Texas Tech coming up tomorrow. What have you seen from the Red Raiders? Obviously, a big win over Texas the other night. McClung with the big shot. But how do you kind of size up this year's Red Raiders squad?
Well, their team is getting better and better and better. They missed all that situation where you could have some cupcakes and you could have a scenario where you have an exhibitions and practice due to the pandemic. And in their case versus Baylor, Baylor veteran team, guys that have been together and they really have played together very successfully. That's a big, big plus. In their case, they had 3 transfers come in, a couple of new freshmen, and to blend them together is not easy, and they've done that now. I think they're starting to really reap the rewards because they're talented. I mean, Shannon kid comes off the bench is explosive. You think about Quintley McCullough's a very good player. You got the kid, Peavy, another good one. I mean, they got some size, strength, physicality, and they really go after you defensively. So you got that, you got a chance to win. But, they have a real task in front of them because I think that Baylor's the best defensive team in America. Got a straight guard complement there as well. With Teague and Mitchell and that gang. So, again, I think it'd be a great basketball game. I'm hoping and praying it's a great game. And I'm hoping and praying for once that I get on with Baylor. I've had 3 other Baylor games, and we've all been knocked out. Would it be COVID or technicality? I'm supposed to do the Baylor-Illinois game. I'm supposed to do the Baylor-Texas game. I'm supposed to do the Baylor-West Virginia game. I just told you a little while ago. I said, hey, Coach, please, Scott, please. I don't want to get a call like tonight, late, like I did the Texas game. Sorry, game is off. COVID has struck us.
How has it affected not only the fact you've missed broadcasts and you haven't been able to do them, but just your work as a broadcaster? Some are at the site and some have to do the game from their wherever office they have inside their home. How has that affected you, Dickie V?
Well, the bottom line is I love being with the crowd. I was looking forward this year to get to Waco. I haven't been to Waco in my 42 years. And I know for sure I'd be there this year. And, just to be with the crowd. I love being with the fans. I love mingling with them before the game and having a blast. We miss all that, but at least we got basketball. I'll be doing it from my studio here at home. Bob Wischu's going to be doing his studio back in his home in Jersey. And, you know, it's not the same, obviously, as sitting next to your partner in terms of getting a feel for when they come in, when they come out. You know, after a while, you get familiar with a guy, so it's a little easier. But in my case, I work with a lot of guys, you know. Dan Schumann one day, I work with Carl Ravitch one day, I work with Bob Wischusen, and it's that timing and all. You just don't understand. When you're sitting next to a guy, you can feel basically when he's going to come in and out. I'm known for throwing elbows. When I want to get in, I throw a lot of elbows. I let them know. Now I can't throw no elbows.
In the rest of the Big 12, you got Kansas, who I know lost to a surprisingly good Oklahoma State team the other night, but particularly Texas and what Shaka Smart's been able to do when a few months ago people were thinking he was going to be out of a job. What about the Longhorns and how they've grown this year into a team that is a threat to anyone that they play?
Well, they're a threat because, first of all, we just talked a little while ago about veterans. Take a look at their perimeter players, Ramey, and take a look at certainly Coleman and Jones. They've been there 3-4 years. Throwing Sims. Then they got a couple of good young kids there in Jones and certainly in Brown, and they're on their way. They're a legitimate basketball team that's going to be, as you said so well, they're going to be a scenario where they basically can beat almost anybody on a given night. Lost that heartbreaker to Texas Tech, but that's life in a way. The two best conferences in basketball, the two best, without question to me, are the Big 10 and the Big 12. I think there's no doubt you can go on a little losing streak in the Big 12 easily if you're not playing up to your potential.
Dickie V, I'm not sure how much you know specifically about Matthew Meyer, but he's a young man who kind of had to settle in a little bit over the last couple of years. He seemed to have matured. He knows his role, and he's a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams. What do you think about Matthew Meyer and just the extra edge that might give Baylor, you know, as they face some of these bigger teams? They've obviously matched up well, but having a guy like him that's so hard to defend and is such a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, he's playing really well right now. You know, he goes inside, outside, and he can score in a variety of ways. So that's a real problem for people out there. But when you look at Baylor, you got a lot of problems. I mean, you got a lot of problems, a lot of places on that floor. Don't get me started. Would somebody please give me, I've heard 35 pronunciations of Jonathan Everyday John. Somebody lay it on me.
All right.
I want to hear nice and smooth, slowly, what the pronunciation should be.
I've had to learn it myself because we had Jonathan on the show. It's Jonathan Chamwa Chachua.
Jonathan Chanwa
Chachua. Chachua.
Chachua.
Chachua?
Yes, sir.
I'm pretty close, right?
Yeah.
Let's every day.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I talked to Chris Beard. That's the one player he's really concerned about. He said the energy he provides, the toughness, the physicality. He said that he really has great respect and admiration how that kid has become quite a player. Yeah, I asked Scott Drew just about 2 weeks ago or so. I said, did you expect him? I asked Jerome Tang, did you expect him to be this far ahead of the curve? And they kind of thought that by the middle of January, late January. Of course, they also thought they would have played more games. But he has been a force because that was the one concern, Dickie V, because of the loss of Freddie Gillespie inside. But it seems like that's not been a problem. Where is Gillespie now? He was an amazing story coming from a D3 team over there, and he played so hard. He rebounded, blocked shots. What is he doing now?
He was just drafted by the G League's Memphis Hustle. In fact, we had him on the show earlier this week, and he was with the Mavericks for a little bit. Training camp was cut and was drafted in the G League by Memphis.
You know, never count a kid like that out. You never do. But, you know, getting back to Scott, what he's achieved there has been amazing. You know,
Coach, you there?
We lose him?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back with a couple more questions, and I know he's got plenty on his plate. In fact, he's got plenty on his plate. We'll try to reconnect with him. It's great to have him on. Dick Vitale, and it's been great the last several years, reached out to him, usually in the, let's say about the late part of February, to see if he could jump on with us, and he always has jumped on with us in March, except, of course, this past year. He's been great to us, great to me, being a part of the shows we've had here in Waco. Coach Vitale, again, back with us on SicEm365 Radio. You were going back to mention Scott Drew again.
Yeah, he's just a great communicator with all people, has such an energy and enthusiastic belief. And he's just been a great, great asset to Baylor Athletics. And I just think to the whole university. And what he's done in basketball is just off the charts. I mean, he's been a consistent winner, and he's brought a lot of real success there. The kids play the right way. They play together. They share the ball. They defend. They do all the things coaches want their players to do, and he gets them to do it.
Coach, where are you when it comes to maybe the NCAA or college sports needing some sort of a czar or someone who is running each of the sports, especially football and basketball?
I've been writing about that. The last 5 books I wrote, I've been writing about that, how it's so needed. We need somebody there to represent the basketball situation, whether it be recruiting, et cetera. I mean, it just is needed. It's needed badly. Tell you something else I don't like that's going to be coming up is they're going to now declare where every player can transfer. He can transfer without sitting out. And if you thought we had over 1,000 transfers without that, with that, you're going to double it. You're going to have 2,000 kids changing and going here, going there. And I think it's wrong. I think, number one, it's going to create incredible chaos out there. And number two, I don't think it's great for the athlete. I think the athlete has to learn sometimes a little bit about how things are tough sometimes, and you got to battle through tough times. That's what life presents. And many times, if you transfer and you sit the year out and you get a year of just getting yourself back, into the kind of shape mentally and physically you want to be, it's a great place to be. And then after that year, you go on to success. It's happened to a lot of guys, a lot of people. But just to get up and quit and leave because maybe you're not getting playing time and run from any problem. You can't run all your life, man. You can't run all your life. And I'll tell you what scares me is the mid-major schools. They're going to have kids who are going to be playing really well, and some way, somehow, the word's going to get down to those kids. Hey, I'll tell you what, I just talked to somebody on the end. If you transfer now and go to school such and such and one of the power conferences, they're going to take your full ride and all. And they're going to be leaving those schools. And you're going to see also guys sit on the bench at certain schools. You go to a Kentucky, a Duke, a Baylor, whatever, any big school, and you're sitting the bench, word's going to get to you, hey, leave now and go there, and you'll be eligible next year to play right away. And I think it's going to be chaotic big time. One of
the other things that scares me about transfers, and I know that it needs to be simplified, but what if you can just go at any time and transfer anywhere? When you're getting recruited, won't it make you a little bit lazier knowing if I don't like this in 6 months, I can just leave, as opposed to asking those right questions and making sure this is a place that you want to be as a student athlete?
Yeah, you're right about that, too. And, the argument many of them give you, the argument is, well, coaches go on and they're eligible right away to coach wherever they go. First of all, it's not apples to apples. Coaches, you're talking about a handful of coaches annually, and you're talking 2,000 so athletes. I mean, that is incredible what it's going to do to the whole game scenario. It's going to be so chaotic and so wild. Hey, the last thing I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to get ready to roll here, but Let me just tell you, I got to book out The Lost Season. Baylor's in that book big time. It's called The Lost Season, and it's all about last year, what could have been, should have been, would have been if we had a tournament. And the biggest thing with the book is all my dollars go for kids battling cancer. So anybody would like that book and they autograph it anywhere they want me to say it, they want me to write there, Scott's the greatest coach in the world. I write it. I write whatever they want me to write. They just go to dickvitale.com. dickvitale.com, and every dollar goes to the V Foundation that I would make. We just gave a check for $47,000 from the sales. Fans have been great. So again, it's dickvitale.com, and they get a copy of The Lost Season.
And nobody does a better job of raising money for that and the Jimmy V Foundation that you do with that big gala that you, of course, you still did this past year despite COVID. Dickie V, thank you, sir, very much for always responding to me, being available when you can. God bless you, and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate it. We've raised so far $37 million with the gala, and it's not enough. We need more money. So please, people, go to dickvitale.com and help us help kids battling cancer. Can't wait for the game tomorrow. I hope finally I do a Baylor game.
Thank you, Coach. Dick Vitale, Dickie V. He brings it full throttle. Yeah, if you were in a room with Dick Vitale and Scott Drew, you would not probably have any other energy left for that room than those two. Great to have him on.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend, and just good to hear his voice. Good to hear him talk so positively about Scott Drew and Baylor. I know he's a big fan, and a big fan of what Drew and company do. And so fired up to hear him on the call tomorrow, and hopefully it's a great game. Should be. No reason why it shouldn't be. I mean, it's two really good teams, two top 15 teams, and depending on Texas Tech, if they win tomorrow, I mean, they'll be flirting with top 10 status. And if, Baylor wins, obviously they're just going to, continue their stronghold on top 5 status. So that's an important game for both teams. And obviously with Texas dropping a game, Baylor now has, a little bit of room, and they don't want to lose that wiggle room by turning around and dropping a game of their own. So very important tomorrow in Lubbock, but it'll be tough because that's a tough place to play, even if it's not at full capacity. And obviously a very good team they'll be facing.
And such a tough place to play just because of the team you're playing, Chris Beard, but also because Lubbock, I don't know what the fan count might be, whether it's 0 or 25% capacity or whatever it might be. Break here, Paul. Come back with Dave Aranda.
Yep.
Dave Aranda and Jeff Grimes met with the media. We were great to have Jeff Grimes on Wednesday. We'll have that today at 5. It's very lengthy and very detailed. But Dave Aranda on many things, including making coaching staff changes, on the status of Blake Bettier, also on James Blanchard back, and Jeff Grimes on Blake Shapen playing football and baseball and how they intermix those two. Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. Armstrong Sims. This is SicEm365 Radio.
2021 is finally here. Make it great by starting big at the New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr. You get big haul power, first-class comfort and ride, and unbeatable technology with the Sierra. The Sierra is the best truck on the road right now. Save $8,500 on a 2021 GMC Sierra SLE Crew cab truck. And maybe you're looking for a top-of-the-line midsize SUV. Well, Richard Carr is offering $6,250 off of 2021 GMC Terrains. They're also offering $4,500 off on the stylish, intelligent, and nimble 2021 Buick Encore GX, which includes on-the-go Alexa technology. And during the New Year New Ride Savings event, all pre-owned cars and trucks are priced to move with amazing deals all over the lot, including cars and SUVs for under $137 a month for qualified buyers. So if your credit stinks like 2020 did, well, it's a new year, and in 2021, 100% credit approval is their goal. So bring your tax refund or your stimulus check to Richard Carr, and they will stimulate your stimulus with even bigger savings that will pay off for years. Go to Richard Carr Motors today for details, test drive, or log on to richardcarr.com now and have them bring the test drive to you. Make 2021 the best year ever, starting with a new car or truck during New Year New Ride Savings event at Richard Carr.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to keep kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
All right, thanks to Dick Vitale for joining the show today. Thanks to Paula McReynolds for the roses on the 200th show of SicEm365 Radio that was not even a thing a year ago. We had no idea. Ashley and Colt, Brian, of course, had a dream, and the dream came true on April the 6th, a Monday for us as well. Armstrong, when did you start? Late August?
I believe it was September, early September.
Early September, okay.
Early September.
So Dave Aranda, for the first time, is this the first time, Paul, that he's been available since the end of the year? And so he talked about many things, and a lot of things that were asked early on were some of the stuff that was asked Jeff Grimes also had been discussed with the interview he had on Sunday and the interview with us on Wednesday.
I'm sorry, but he's done 2 long interviews before today. Half of those questions could have been answered already by those interviews. I'm sorry, but between John Morris and what we asked him, the first 3 questions, quite frankly, were all just rehashes. So I think that's a little disappointing. We could cover some new ground, but I think there was still a lot of new ground covered, so ultimately ended up being good.
Well, one of the new grounds we covered, we'll have it in a moment, is his thoughts about Blake Shapen in the quarterback room and, of course, playing both baseball and football. Let's start with this. On Dave Aranda, he made the changes. Paul, he didn't have to.
Nope.
He also could have been like, man, I don't know if that's a good look. He doesn't care. He's trying to do what is best for the team. He was not afraid to make the changes. It's not that he made changes. It was the fact he made them emphatically.
I think for me, it's the ability to just get the right fit. I think throughout, if you look at it as a process, you learn and you grow. I think, there's definitely things when I look back at this season that I could have done better, and things that I've learned. I think just whether it's conducting a team meeting, or it's leading a practice, or it's talking with a recruit, or it's making in-game adjustments, or it's hiring a staff. I think any of those things, to a degree, until that you figure out that you don't know, or that there's things to learn. And then I think you do everything you can to learn, get better. And so I feel that very much the case here. I think hiring for fit and hiring for, the temperament and the environment of Baylor, I think it's an important piece. And I think, that's what a lot of these were about.
All right, so Dave Aranda on the fact that Craig, he could have sat there and said, okay, let's give this another year. It might have been a disaster had he done it. But the fact that he said, I don't care what it's the look, and John McClain's told us that sometimes a head coach, the first year, the first staff is not always a great fit, but in fact, he did it. And we finally heard from him on really why.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give him some credit, but I'm not going to give him like all the credit in the world because, quite frankly, if he doesn't make those changes, then he might lose his job. So I think there, in some cases, changes that had to be made. You couldn't afford to go and have the same offensive performance all of next year because once you get into it, it's done. There's no switching play. I mean, I guess you could, in theory, switch play callers or something, but that would be even more disastrous to have to deal with. So, I mean, I absolutely give him credit for being proactive and maybe making more moves than were expected. But I think offensively, especially, and the offensive line especially, you didn't have much of a choice with what we watched last season.
No question
it was just not good.
All right, so a couple more things. This is Jeff Grimes. We had him on Wednesday, and we pretty much asked him everything. But there's something we couldn't ask him everything because we only had 30 minutes, Paul. That's like, But no, he kind of took a little friendly pot shot at me.
That's what I'm talking about, though. Like, there was 50 minutes worth of interviews with this guy, and we're asking him, like, the same thing he's answered twice already.
Well,
whatever.
We then wanted to get a couple more things. In fact, Jeff, when I asked him the question, he goes, I thought I was done with you. I don't know if you heard that, Armstrong, but I thought I was done with you. And
I took that out.
You did? No.
Yeah, just in your question, just so that.
That's what I say every day when Smokey walks in.
Well, here's the question. Is the question included here, Paul?
No, it's about Blake Shapen.
He did mention that he's looked at, because there's not a lot of college film. There's none on Carbon Drones. There's none on Blake Shapen. There's very little really on Jacob Zeno and a little bit on Brian Bohannon, Gary Bohannon. But I asked him about that, and he's talking about, I watched all their high school film as much as he could as well. But then there's the story with Blake Shapen, who co-featured in the premium section this week about playing and mixing the time, energy, and effort about baseball and football at the same time.
That can be a challenge. I think in most cases, when I've been a part of that in the past, that tends to clear itself up over time. Most guys end up moving one direction or the other. We did have a quarterback at BYU who also played baseball and started and won games for us at BYU. And you find a way to make it work. The biggest challenge, obviously, is spring ball. And we found a way to work with baseball and make sure that he was at both places. And I remember a day where our guy came out and practiced and had a great practice in the spring, and then grabbed some food and ran over to the baseball field and hit the game-winning RBI. And so I think it can be done with an exceptional individual, but he's got to have great focus, understand how to manage his time between both sports and school, and understand that he's going to have to do some extra stuff on his own at both sports, probably, if he plans to continue doing that and excel at both.
And some have. Paul, you brought up Jameis Winston. There's been others that have done it. Some have not succeeded. Some have had to choose, and usually, as even Jeff Grimes mentioned, have had to pick one or two others.
I can think of a Heisman Trophy. I mean, he wasn't a quarterback, but it was Bo Jackson did it. Deion Sanders did it.
I think it's different for a quarterback, though.
Yeah, because those guys are like Chris Winkies. They are Brandon Whedon's. They don't play college ball until they're done with
Josh
baseball.
Booty.
So, maybe Blake Shapen's a quarterback at 28 years old, like 26, like Brandon Whedon was, or maybe he is at 21, 22. I mean, depending on how this spring goes, but that is going to be a lot for him to balance.
Also, the status, Cole Barber, I believe, was Cole or Brian Etheridge who brought this up about, we've seen and heard about what most people are doing as far as the players who have a chance to come back, and there's a bunch. For example, Burton, he's going to the pros, and there's others going to the pros. Some have decided to come back for another year, even if they were seniors. What is the status, we asked Dave Aranda, of offensive lineman Blake Bettier, who did not have a very, very productive last year?
Blake, to my knowledge, has not. I think, he's had some good talks with both Coach Grimes, and he's had some good talks with Eric, Coach Mateos. And so I think, Eric gets back early this next week, and so we'll see. I think I have a lot of respect for Blake. I hope to see Blake back. I think there's a lot of football left in Blake. I know that this past year was a difficult year for him. He was playing injured and had surgery on his foot since, and is working back through it. And so we'll see. I think. I've talked to those guys, both Grimes and to Mateos, about just my feelings for Blake and how much I appreciate and respect him and would want him to be a part of it. So we'll see.
So it sounds like Dave Aranda would like him back. And it sounds like also, we heard this in some of the back and forth text messaging, that he might have been so worn down from last year. Wasn't very productive. Obviously, they weren't very good. He wasn't very good. He also had the injury, had the surgery, but they don't have really much to choose from when it comes to it. Craig, are you on board with anybody you have right now? Just try to see if you can cultivate them if they want to play.
Yeah, to an extent. I think you have to be careful about who you decide to do that with, like how many years do they have left? And then again, like you could encourage a guy to come back for just this year just to have depth, and then, make a choice later on that maybe he's not a fit for your program any longer. I don't know what the game plan is. Obviously you have to have depth and you can't always have it, quality. So I think Blake Bettier does provide quality depth. I don't know, because of the injury last year, how much of a great player he is as a starter. But I think he is a guy you want back in the fold just because of his experience and what little you've seen. But there's definitely got to be some improvement there.
I'll mention this. In the text message, I said, but then when Aranda spoke, it made me, maybe there were some things he was fighting. One, he was miserable. And two, maybe there was an issue of not connecting with coaches. And three, he was hurt.
Well, and the thing about just having him from a depth standpoint is Matt Rule and company did that, and where's the offensive line 3 years later? Like they went and loaded up and got guys who maybe were borderline and not quite Big 12 caliber players or like really good Big 12 caliber players. And so, here you are 2-3 years later and you've got 10 plus guys now on your offensive line room, whereas you had 6 when Rule first arrived. But how quality is all of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to have numbers, it's another thing to have quality numbers. And so if he provides a quality number for you, and they seem to think that he does, then welcome back. But, obviously, like you said, he's got a lot on his mind, and it may not be in his interest.
They're not going to bring him back just because he's a body, but they have to feel like he can bring something to the table. We got to take a call here, Craig. Call.
Yeah, let's do it. I don't know who it is.
254-339-1122. We need to hit Grayson on time because he's got a bucket full of stuff for us at 3:45.
So we'll take this call and head to break. Good afternoon, caller. You're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's been a Bigfoot, guys. Glad to be calling again. First time caller, long time listener. Glad I could call to the #1 radio show on SicEm365 Radio. How are y'all doing? You have a Merry Christmas?
Yeah,
we did.
We did, Bigfoot, and we appreciate your time.
Good to hear, guys. Anyway, I just want to talk about Blake Shapen. I'm really surprised. Wasn't he a walk-on?
No. Scholarship guy.
Oh, he's not?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. My old call was about how walk-ons are great, and they could really prove to be good. And you know what else? Is I hope Garrett McGuire gets another year to play so he can prove that he needs to be the Baylor starting quarterback and prove to the David O'Brien and the Heisman Committee that he deserves to win both awards.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Bigfoot. We appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
By the way, I want to shout out my new sponsor, Double R Burgers. Go to Double R Burgers, ask for the Bigfoot special, and tell them Bigfoot sent you.
All right,
Okay,
Double R.
good deal.
Butch Henry used to do endorsements for them that made you want to eat the largest in one you could possibly. Bigfoot, thanks for your call. Let's get to a couple of more things. Thank you, Bigfoot. 254-339-1122. So then there was the return of James Blanchard, who, of course, is a guy that made a name for himself as an internet, website, message board, an analyst for talent. Joins the staff with Matt Rule at Baylor. In fact, then he joins the staff with Matt Rule at Carolina. Dave Aranda, how did all this come about? Because he was in the NFL. Another NFL team was interested in him. Listen to Dave Aranda describe his interest and love for what James Blanchard does.
Yeah, I love James. I think James got a great heart, man. He loves recruiting. And so I think just loves the talent evaluation. And so I know back when I first got here a year ago, just was really impressed with James, just taking off. And during the quarantine time, James would set up calls, and really we were in on a lot of guys first, and we were identifying guys that fit our criteria. And I think James was even trailblazing some of the stuff and making us rethink our criteria. And so anytime that you get someone that's pushing the envelope that way, you notice and you respect them and you empower them, try to give them some room to do their thing. And so that was the case until, the opportunity with the Panthers came, and we tried to keep him. So when his ability, when it became apparent that he could come back and that was something that could get worked out, and his interest was to come back, we did everything we could to get him. I'm happy that we did.
Now, you can really hear how much he likes James Blanchard. It's not a part of the main staff, but you can see him flooding the timelines of a lot of high school football players, especially the class of 22, where that kind of got dormant. When we come back, Grayson knows all about that. Grayson Grundhafer, he and Craig do Trust the Podcast for an hour or so each week. Grayson Grundhafer is next on SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI, premium quality MRIs that are convenient, they're affordable, and that's ideal. On average, an MRI can cost you about $1,100. That's on average. Maybe one time it's $500, another time it's $1,500, one time it's $850, another time it's $1,800. It all depends. I remember one time when I was at an appointment at a hospital, had to get an MRI. Something was really bothering me, and it was basically a nerve issue. And I went up to get an MRI, thought my insurance had covered it, and when they told me how much I had to pay up front, it kind of staggered me a little bit. But I needed to get something done, and I did. Ideal MRI, $497 or less every single time. $497 or less, and they'll even help you if there's any kind of insurance coverage that they can help you with as well. Also, Ideal MRI with their state-of-the-art technology, and if you don't want to, if you're still concerned about being out and worrying about COVID and all that, well, you can go online, idealmri.com. You can get an appointment, contact them, get an appointment set up, do all the pre-registration, and eventually walk through the front door, and everything, of course, is safe the way they set it up. Check in, go see a tech and specialist. They'll tell you about what's about to happen, and an incredible and absolutely low-maintenance experience to go inside that massive MRI machine that will spit out a picture or 10 or whatever you need of whatever muscle or bone or ligament is torn, broken, or all of the above. It's IdealMRI.com. This is our 200th show, and they've been with us since day one as our title sponsor on SicEm365 Radio, IdealMRI.com.
Don't settle for second best. Allen Samuels has the Dodge models to make your heart go pitter-patter. Allen Samuels is Waco's Customer First Award for Excellence winner for 3 years running. Come take a peek at the new 2020 Dodge Charger SXT with $5,670 in value or 0% for 72 months. Or the new 2020 Dodge Journey, one of the most affordable third-row SUVs with $6,750 total values available. Shop today at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. It's the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Your friend in the car business. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel at the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
An update on that Class 5A Division II championship game. They were favored heavily. Aledo 56-21 on Crosby. That game in the fourth quarter as they're headed for a record 10th state championship in Class 5A Division II. This one, Aledo and the Bearcats and Tim Buchanan, the head coach. We're now joined by Grayson Grundhafer. Of course, he is all over the recruiting. He trusts the podcast, he and Craig, every week. A good full hour or more on everything possible Baylor. Grayson, thanks for joining us today. You have been an incredibly busy man, and so has the Baylor staff, apparently. What has brought apart the surge offers in the class of 2022, excuse me?
Yeah, guys, and it's more than just 2022. It's 2023 as well. But over the last 24 hours, I think I counted 14 new offers have gone out, and then also a preferred walk-on offer went out as well. So, I mean, this staff is just, they're putting out offers because they're trying to make up for the missed time that they had during that stretch when they hadn't made an offensive hire yet. And also, guys, honestly, trying to make up for the fall. There were a lot of offers that I believe should have gone out or could have gone out, I think is the better word to use, during the fall, and they didn't. And so now, you know, this staff is looking to make up for time lost and try to offer some of these big names before they blow up on the recruiting trail. And they've done a nice job so far. I've been pretty impressed with how quickly they've gotten offers out.
How much of it has to do with just that there's new staffers and you want to hit the ground running?
Yeah, that's a part of it. But honestly, a lot of these offers are guys that have been, followed by the staff for a long time. Obviously with this being my job, I'm pretty plugged in with a lot of these recruits. And it seems like almost all of them I have talked to in the past because they've had some sort of Baylor relationship. And so now to see them get offers is really cool. And obviously, the staff coming in and evaluating the guys and deciding that they're an offer is a key part to this situation as well. And I think with the new recruiting staff that they've assembled, that also helps too with getting film in front of the coaches as quickly as possible.
How much of this do you think has to do with the return of James Blanchard? And I know we have to be careful not to give him all the credit because that can happen sometimes. Guys become favorites and, suddenly they get all the praise. But Dave Aranda had praise for him earlier today, Grayson, talking about him.
Yeah, that guy's getting way too much credit. No, I'm kidding. I love James. He's a really good guy and a guy who has done a great job on the recruiting side of things. And you could hear it from Dave Aranda today that he really felt like that was a move that I think needed to be made and that James was a real asset to this Baylor program. And, I'm sure James is really fired up for this opportunity. And I think you're seeing it from these offers. I mean, half of them, they've tagged JKB in them. So, he's a guy who just he's a workhorse. And that's what you need on the recruiting trail.
I saw your note about that preferred walk-on that you just mentioned. And he's out of Round Rock, and he's a player that's very disruptive. Was that for this class or was that for next year?
No, that would be for this class. But the thing of it is, for a preferred walk-on, they kind of have they have as much time as they want, honestly, because he'll enroll in the summer if he chooses Baylor. It's pretty much going to be Baylor or TCU, and that is Luke Dodds out of Round Rock. And he actually set the Round Rock school record with 12.5 sacks this year. And that's a pretty big record to set when a guy like James Lynch went to your school as well.
Grayson Grunhafer, Sic'em365.com with us on Sic'em365 Radio.
All right, so as they're starting to close out here in the next couple of weeks, do you expect to see any surprises?
I think that you might see some surprises. And I think a big part of this is seeing how the roster clears up. Obviously, today they got news that James Sylvester entered the transfer portal, the defensive end out of Newton, the 4-star prospect in the 2020 class. So there's one name that is now, leaving the Baylor program. And so I think as that becomes more clear, you kind of get more of an idea of what kind of spots you have currently on the roster. And so I think that's going to be a big part of it. But I do believe they will probably add an offensive lineman or two and probably a pass rusher. But I think it's important to note, one of the kids that I talked to this week, Eric Wilson out of Harvard, he's not necessarily going to make a decision before the February signing period because I think he can kind of make a decision whenever he wants, to be honest, because once February comes, you have quite a bit of time in there where you can sign. It's not just a 2-day period like the early signing day period is.
What do you think about James Sylvester announcing he'll enter the transfer portal? Yusuf Terry did that, a couple months ago. He still hasn't found the new destination. Maybe it's different for D lineman, but his time at Baylor was not long, Grayson, and not much of an impact made before deciding to I guess, go head elsewhere.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, Craig. The grass always looks greener on the other side, but sometimes it's just not. And if you look at the transfer portal, it is filling up with guys, and you're just wondering, are these guys going to have a spot somewhere? And that's where it becomes really difficult. But I think in James Sylvester's case, he's just not a great fit, I don't believe, for Dave Aranda's defense. And that's not really his fault. He came in thinking he was going to be in Matt Rule's scheme, and now with Aranda's, it's just kind of a different scheme for him. They need bigger defensive ends with bigger builds, not necessarily true pass rushers. And so that makes it a little bit tougher for a guy like him. So that's why I believe he's entered, but again, don't know for sure, but he won't be with the Baylor program next season.
Of course, the 409, as it's been said, to develop so much talent. I saw there was an offer of West Orange Stark. I also saw the DeAnthony Gatson, who's a running back out of Newton, who had nearly 2,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, career nearly 4,000 yards, 63 touchdowns. There's another one, right, that maybe has just been sitting there. I'm sure he'll get 50 offers before it's all said and done. What are your thoughts about him?
Yeah, he's a stud. If you go watch his film, he does a great job breaking tackles and making guys miss in the open field. He's got such quick speed. And then he also has nice breakaway speed as well. I really like that offer. I actually talked to him a little bit earlier in the week, and he hadn't heard from Baylor yet. And then he got the offer yesterday. So really happy for him. I know he's excited about the offer, and I think that Newton connection could still be coming Baylor's way, even with the loss of James Sylvester.
You mentioned grad transfers, or transfers in particular, and obviously they need help on the offensive line. They could always use more. And you featured in the premium section, if you don't mind me bringing it up, Eric Wilson out of Harvard. You want to update people a little bit on that?
Yeah, I definitely can. He's a major target, guys. 6'4", 315 pounds. Not only is he a key target in this class, but he's also a guy who is going to be a key target for a lot of programs. So, after talking to him yesterday, we talked for about 30 minutes, and he kind of got me caught up on everything that has happened in his recruitment. And so I was able to put together a little Q&A about it. But he was committed to Auburn back in November, and the thought was he was going to sign with Auburn, and that's where he was going to go. But then Gus Malzahn left, and that kind of opened up the door for some other programs to talk to him and start building a relationship. He decided to put off signing until later on. So now he's kind of open. I would say that right now his top three are probably Auburn, Penn State, and LSU because they've had the longest relationship. But Baylor offered this week, so they're giving themselves a chance. I know Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos are working really hard to land him because he is an NFL draft prospect. He's a guy who will be at a school for 1 year and will be moving on to the NFL draft after that, but he won't be enrolling until the summer because he still has one more semester at Harvard. So it kind of gives him a little bit of a longer timeline to make a decision, which in my opinion is a great thing for Baylor because I think they're going to need some time to catch up relationship-wise with these other schools.
Grayson, how pissed are you that you're not going to win Pick'em?
I'm so mad, Craig. And I was also mad because, well, first of all, we talked about it, about how I'm going to go and say, just give me the opposite of Smokey, and that's what it will be. And then I saw you do Pick'em, and, of course, your first pick was Crosby, and they're going to lose. So I feel bad, Craig, because I'm going to end up probably getting second here unless something crazy happens. And we both really deserve second. And Smokey deserves first, unfortunately. Just a few bad picks in there, or else I'd be competing with Smokey this year.
It's amazing how this was all the way to the end. Maybe about 2 weeks ago it kind of flipped. Craig mentioned that one pick, Highland Park, I think it was, against Denton Ryan or something.
I mean, why did it have to be the first game?
What?
Yeah,
Crosby,
why
did
it have to be the first game?
Well,
interesting. I mean, this is the one I was. This is what I was saying yesterday. I said this was the game that was like I knew that this was not going to work, but like I had no other choice if I wanted any chance. But I absolutely knew that this was unlikely, and here we are, and it's 56-21.
Yeah,
so.
It's a great run by Crosby and Jerry Prieto, who we had on the show last week, and but it's kind of like I said. This Grayson is a golfer who is on a par 5 or whatever, and you've got to go for the green in 2, whether it's over water or a canyon, to try to get an eagle. And Craig went for it. A lot of guys, if they lay up, would get roasted. So, but you guys pushed me. It was never easy, ever. That 18-2 week you had about a month and a half ago, just vaulted. You kind of came up. Honestly, what the hell's he doing here? That kind of thing. So we appreciated you being involved. You did a great job. Thanks for your time. I know that you have been busy as heck, no question about it, in the premium section. Have a great weekend, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
That's Grayson Grunhay for SicEm365.com. He has launched one story after another in the premium section and doing an incredible job.
Got, in the premium section, have told you before that that's where you can go to get even more information, a lot of extra discussion as well, a lot of articles, all the audio that we have. So much Baylor content over there, but an especially great time with all the recent coaching hires and them getting acclimated and now gearing up for whatever spring ball is going to be or whatever that's going to look like. I mean, I doubt we'll see a single minute of practice.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, just because of protocols, but they'll still have some practices, and we'll have a lot of discussion about that. But right now, with signing day just a couple weeks away and all these offers going out, I mean, I was retweeting some of them, and I don't like to flood people's timelines. Like, I try to be considerate. So I'm not going to retweet every kid that's putting out an offer right now, because if I did, then like 20 tweets in a row would be just me retweeting Baylor offers. That's how active they are today. So they're getting after it for sure on the recruiting trail. One NFL note, the Falcons have announced Arthur Smith officially as their next head coach.
Okay.
It's the Titans offensive coordinator, so NFL head coaching vacancies starting to clear up. But, Titans OC Arthur Smith will be head coach of the Falcons next season.
When we come back, Jason King, who sent me a text, he goes, oops, I kind of misjudged Texas Tech a little bit after the win against Texas at Austin. Baylor and Texas Tech tomorrow in Lubbock. Yesterday we heard from Alvin Brooks. Today we will hear from Jason King again. We've already heard from Dick Vitale, SicEm365 Radio. Petty Clinic, lowt.com, where Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. It's about, of course, being in shape physically as far as inside of your body. So here's the deal. Men, you get older. Things change. You know that. It might be the gravity as you gain weight and things start to sag a little bit. It might be a lot of things that happen as you get older. One of the things that also happens is your testosterone levels can go south. High-performance edge that you need to be the high-performance man you want to be. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's health care clinic, and Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man you want to be. How do you do that? Contact them, pettycliniclowt.com. pettycliniclowt.com. Go online, tell them who you are, tell them you heard from me, David Smoak sent me, and ask them what you need to do. They will send you somewhere to get your blood work get done, and then they'll look at your testosterone levels, also check your PSA level and much more, cholesterol, etc. And then if your testosterone levels have dropped or lower than they need to be for a man your age, whatever age that might be, Dr. Petty can put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels so you can be the high-performance man you want to be. You can stop being lethargic. Of course, you got to sleep well. You got to eat well. You got to exercise if you have time for that, or take care of yourself in some way or all the above. But your testosterone level can have an effect on that as well. At pettycliniclowt.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army radiologists. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting, and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricusa.com.
It's time to be brutally honest with yourself. Look in the mirror or weigh yourself. Do you weigh as much, more, or less than you did before the holidays or a year ago? Why not start the year in better shape than how you ended it and create momentum for 2021 and help strip the negative vibes, tension, pressure, and extra pounds from the crazy of 2020? It's time right now to join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's so much more than a gym, including world-class tennis courts, lessons available with pros, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, personal training to get you over the hump. I promise you'll look better and feel better than ever before. Just need to walk through the front door. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Court. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp, spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation, a tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So make this your best and healthiest year ever. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Although Myers slips and just tried to get rid of the ball, turned it over, and Butler is going to pay it off at the other end.
It's time for our weekly segment with Jason King of SicEm365. Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
That game at Lido, 56-21. That's a final. Tonight, 7 o'clock. I think this ought to be a dandy. Denton Ryan, Cedar Park tonight, 7 o'clock in the 5A Division I state championship.
Boring. Lido wins again. Boring.
Yeah, 10th state title. It's crazy. We're now joined by Jason King, SicEm365.com. Also the Field of 68. We had Rob Douster on, who Jason and Ashley, they put up the podcast on that site as well and on SicEm365.com. So you sent me a text yesterday about Texas Tech, and I mean, they scratched, they clawed, they're Chris Beard, they're never going to give up. Your thoughts about their win in Austin?
Yeah, I was just kind of chuckling as I was watching this game. I was 48 hours earlier, I was on your show saying that I thought Texas Tech was a little overrated. I wasn't that impressed with their personnel. And they went out and really put on a great performance. Both teams did in that game. I almost felt bad for Texas losing that game. I thought they played great and did everything they could to win the game, and Texas Tech just was tougher at the end. But, like you said, Chris Beard is such a good coach. And mainly just gets his guys to play so hard, keeps them dialed in. And, there was times in that game, multiple times, and Texas Tech was down double digits, and so many teams would have folded, but they really kept their composure. I guess they kind of told themselves, hey, Texas is not going to continue to make threes at this level. Texas hit 13 threes in that game. And, again, they kept their composure, kept their cool, got good shots, and then hit a big one at the end and won a huge road game against the top 10 team, and for Baylor, that really helps the Bears because they needed Texas to drop a game. And now that's happened.
Yeah, but this is that first Saturday, Monday, big Monday switch around for Baylor, and they haven't played all that much. Are you worried about that, or do you think that they're well rested?
I mean, I'm worried about it not from a rest standpoint, but just from the fact that they haven't really played a high level team since they played Illinois. I mean, you can say what you want about the Big 12 being tough with Iowa State and TCU and Oklahoma, but those are bottom half teams. Maybe Oklahoma's not, but TCU and Iowa State definitely are, and they struggled at times in those games. And now all of a sudden, they're dealing with a team that's high on confidence and gritty and tough defensively, and they're having to play them in Lubbock. It's you just hope they don't go out and kind of feel shell shocked just by that level of competition. But the good thing, like Jared Butler said yesterday, is they play against the best defense every day in practice when they're going against one another, and so hopefully those practices have been intense and they'll be ready for it. I mean, I still think that Baylor, just, from a personnel standpoint, is so much better, has so many more horses than Texas Tech. But when you get a team that's as good defensively as the Red Raiders are, they can really rally it, and hopefully that won't happen tomorrow.
Speaking of personnel, Jason, what are a couple of the key matchups you think going into tomorrow?
Well, we'll have to think about it. Obviously, I think the key matchup is Davion Mitchell on Matt McClung. McClung is the one that hit the big three against Texas. He's their leading scorer. He has plenty of games, and I mentioned this the other day. His shooting percentage is barely above 40%, if it's even there. And when he hasn't faced a defender like Davion Mitchell maybe in his career, and I think that's going to be the key to the game, is finding a way to shut him down. Now, the guy's probably going to get his points, because he shoots it 20 times a game or whatever. But, if you can hold him to 14, 15 points on 6 of 20 shooting or whatever, then that's a good night. He does a good job of getting to the free throw line. But I do think if Mitchell can really frustrate him, they'll have to look elsewhere for answers. And, Terrence Shannon, who actually came off the bench last week, he's kind of considered maybe one of their top NBA guys, and he's kind of back up and down, and maybe that's why he's benched right now. But he's a tough matchup, and someone like a Mark Vitale will have to really kind of try to frustrate him, and Matthew Meyer as well, in that wing position. So, and Kevin McCullough is another guy for Texas Tech that just joined the team after being injured, just returned to the team a few weeks ago. I think he had 16 points the other day against Texas. I think he had 15 the game before against Iowa State. So he's really hot right now, and hopefully Baylor's guards can get after him.
This McClung, the guy who's averaging nearly 16 a game, came in from Georgetown, and is he kind of a live wire for them? I keep hearing about how they have to kind of control him. I'm not saying he's their version of Matthew Meyer, but this guy is someone who's capable to put that team on his shoulders?
Well, he's one of those guys, what do you call him, like a heat check guy? He has the ability to get really hot and change the game and win the game on his own. Sometimes you just kind of give him the ball and clear out and see if he can go win it for you or get a shot for you. I think he takes a lot of shots that in normal years Chris Beard may not like, but I think Chris Beard realizes, hey, we don't have a lot of high-level offensive players on this team, and he's that guy for us. And, sometimes we're just going to have to live with a few of his kind of ill-advised shots, because eventually they'll start going down and he'll come up big for us like he did the other day. He's definitely kind of a guy that, if there were crowds in the stands, he'd be the guy that you love to hate. He likes to snarl and talk a little trash, and that's fine. Texas Tech every school needs that kind of player that their home team really gets behind and the road team hates. So he's kind of making a name for himself, and he did it at Georgetown too, averaged a lot of points on a lot of shots. But I think I'm looking at his stats now. He's shooting 42%, on the year, and 37% from three. So those aren't great numbers, but again, probably not terrible either considering the number of shots he takes. And he's making 82% of his free throws, and he gets to the line a lot, which is big.
Do you think Oklahoma State will hang around?
I'm excited about them because I know you guys, we all like Mike Boynton, such a good guy, a great quote. And he's one of those guys you kind of root for to succeed. They came up short so many times last year in close games, and I thought it was going to be more of the same this year. But for these last few wins they've had at Texas Tech and Lubbock, at home the other night, convincingly against Kansas, I do think they'll hang around. I really do. At least to the point where I think they'll get in the tournament and maybe finish in that third, fourth, fifth spot in the Big 12. I do. The other thing is they've got so many new players, and they're just now starting to gel. And obviously they got one of the maybe the most talented player in the country in Cade Cunningham. And I like what I'm seeing from him because he's playing within the concept of the team. He's not out there trying to do everything by himself, and he's not forcing shots and just trying to, make it a 1-on-5 game. He's really involved in his teammates, and I think he's been a great team player for that squad.
Jason, I remember a time when it was a big deal that Scott Drew went into Ames and won at Hilton Coliseum, and now he just does that with regularity. The Cyclones are 0-5 in Big 12 play. What's going on with their program? Because it wasn't that long ago when they were contending themselves for the Big 12 title.
Yeah, you've got to think fans up there are probably getting restless. I just don't think their players are very good. To tell you the truth. They've kind of done what Baylor. They've done unsuccessfully what Baylor has tried to do, and win with a bunch of transfers. And when Fred Hoiberg was there, that's what they were doing too. They were getting a lot of guys. whether it was, I forgot his name, Royce from Minnesota or Chris Allen from Michigan State. That was the big calling card for their program. And the transfers they've got more recently just haven't really panned out. And at the same time, the league has been really, really good. Chrome's had success there. I mean, I think they won the Big 12 tournament 2 years ago, but all of a sudden they've really fallen off. And, the fans have high expectations there. I mean, they're used to competing for the league title or at least being in the upper half. So I just wonder how much longer that'll take. But their recruiting really seems to have fallen off.
Jason, thank you. Anything else, Paul, Craig? Thank you very much. Jason, appreciate your time as always.
Hope to see you Monday night.
Yes,
Take
sir.
Care, guys.
Hope to see you Monday night and see Baylor at unbeaten and an extra game ahead of Texas Tech. They play 3 o'clock. They tip in Lubbock. That ought to be a heck of a game. Dick Vitale, a part of that call, as he was a part of the show earlier. If you missed it, it's up on our site, also up on our Twitter timeline as well across the board. All right, Armstrong wanted me to mention this, and we should, and we don't do it enough. We have a lot of other things other than shows and the website and premium content. It's National Hat Day, Armstrong. Is that what you're telling me? It's National Hat Day.
Yeah, it is literally National Hat Day today.
Craig is wearing one.
Yeah.
In fact, it's great because you can go to SicEm365.com/store and order merchandise that's attached to SicEm365.com, including this beautiful hat that Craig wears, SicEm365.com. So you can go to SicEm365.com/store. There's also, I think there's like, it's not what are those really nice coffee or...
Yeah, there's ice shakers, and then there's also like wine tumblers.
Yeah, some of those are like, one of them, Paul, we got some from early on.
Yeah.
What are those called? Those Yeti? Or those?
No, it's not that brand.
It's an ice shaker.
The brand's an ice shaker.
The brand is ice shaker, but
beautiful.
It's like a Yeti.
Man, those things are, I don't know if you could build that any better. It's just fantastic to keep something either cold or warm. And so we have things on the site, including shirts, caps, and much more merchandise from SicEm365.com. Again, SicEm365.com/store. It's National Hat Day. Is there a favorite? My favorite hat is just a golf hat. That's all, whatever. Anyone else have, like, Paul, you like to wear the fedora?
No. I mean, I'm not Indiana Jones.
I can see that, actually.
You know what? I've worn it a couple times, and I tell you, I pull it off. I do.
Yeah.
But I don't have one anymore. I was on a trip in California a few years ago and visiting some friends, and I wore one. And I left it at a bar. So it.
And you'd be wearing it to this day if you hadn't.
I don't know. It's gotta be. You gotta tame that. You gotta pull it out for special occasions.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Tom Landry wore the fedora about as well as anyone's ever worn it. Paul Bear Bryant, right?
Yeah.
Wore the fedora in his
was
way.
a trilby, right?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Josh Gordon, yet again, has been suspended indefinitely. His conditional reinstatement has been rescinded, and he has been suspended indefinitely. This, according to Phil Yates in Sports Illustrated, the tweet.
I would think this has to be about it for him, right?
I mean, God,
okay,
if
let me
it's
ask you a
not,
question.
when is it going to be?
How many times have we said that? And listen, I hate it for him. I hate it for, like, Randy Gregory seems to have turned the corner, but if we heard something about him, unfortunately, it would not be a surprise. He's had more than almost a cat of nine lives, and it seems as if he's turned the corner. I don't, when I heard that he was reinstated, I said, that's great. But this doesn't surprise me.
Well, I think maybe it's because Randy Gregory's problems were of something now that's not illegal in the NFL drug testing and marijuana, and that's what I've been told and led to believe. But Josh Gordon's, I think, are numerous.
Yeah,
I don't think he's substances abuse might be the easier way for people to put it as opposed to just one substance.
Yeah, I don't know what his preferences are or what his routine is or what. I don't know. All I know is that he's just not involved in something with the NFL and being eligible or not being eligible. I mean, this has been years, literally years of back and forth on Josh Gordon and his playing status. It's beyond tiresome. I can only imagine for him what it must be like. Then again, he's also putting himself in this position over and over again. So, I'm all for second chances. Josh Gordon's on like chance 7 at this point. He's a very good football player, and unlike really anybody out there, and it's scary to think of what he could have been. He's going to be one of those guys that's not necessarily worthy of a 30 for 30, but you could make one and have it be very interesting on just a guy who's got everything at his disposal, but whatever demons or what have completely just derailed him from making millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And I know he's made some money already, but, I mean, he could have made so much more money when you look at some of these wide receiver contracts. I mean, that was not even a question he was going to get a big deal if he could just keep his head straight, keep his nose clean. And clearly that's been the challenge for him his entire NFL career.
He's Julio Jones, right? As far as body, Des Bryant, of course,
he's way bigger than Julio Jones as far as like thickness and all that. I mean, Julio's a big dude too, but Josh Gordon's like, he's like a brick wall. When
you think of one play at Baylor, is it the hitch route to Kansas against Kansas?
That hitch route where he took it 90.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
don't think people knew.
I was in a hospital bed watching.
Yeah, I don't think people necessarily knew he had that gear. Everybody knew he was good, but like to shake a guy and then go 90 is tough to do, even against Kansas. But, I think that's the one I think of. Of course, most of the memories I have of Josh Gordon are, he and Willie Jefferson passing out at Taco Bell and things like that.
Yeah, I know.
I'll confess this right now. If people don't know, I might have been the one who got him suspended for the whole game by telling the suspension to Judge Starr at the Cotton Bowl when they weren't. I mean, because I'll say it. I was doing the pregame show, and Ken Starr came up to me and said, what about our gentleman that had the incident at the Taco Bell? I said, well, they're suspended for the first half. And then Ken Starr left that little interchange and walked off and said, and then I got into the stadium, and they were suspended for the whole game. So now that there's some distance between that, I will admit that I gave him that information. I will not take the blame on this because I'm not the offender who did this.
I was about to think you were about to tell him that you gave him the doobie or something.
No, but I like so it was. But I mean, it was the first half hour. It was the first half was the thing, or the first quarter, and Judge Starr came up to me, and between that time I told him that and the time I got to the press box, the suspension had been lengthened.
It's a whole half for passing out in the driveway of a Taco Bell
with the car running
so high that you couldn't even you make it to the window, and you got a whole half for that. Well, no kidding, he made a change to that decision.
He wishes that would have been the only type of transgression for a suspension that he had to deal with at Baylor with the football team, as we know.
No, but
golly.
Josh Gordon's I'm not going to say he's the best that never. The best that never was, but pretty close to it. I mean, pretty close to it. I mean, you hear all these guys that we've interviewed who played during those years, and we asked the question about, like, what's your dream 4x1 team, or who's the biggest freak you saw while at Baylor as far as workouts go? And the answer is always Josh Gordon. It's never anybody else. It's always Josh Gordon. It's Josh Gordon for Levi Norwood. It's Josh Gordon for Corey Coleman. It's Josh Gordon for Bryce Petty. It's Josh Gordon for RG3, like so on and so forth. And so it's just – man, you hate to see people waste talent, but like that's a waste of talent that's just on a whole nother level.
When we come back, it's 4:23. Carlos Lynn is the head coach at Cedar Hill. We mentioned Alito beat Crosby easily, 56-21 tonight. Denton Ryan against Cedar Park, 5A Division I championship. Tomorrow night, we have focused on South Lake Carroll with Riley Dodge, Todd Dodge at Westlake. Cedar Hill is playing tomorrow in the Class 5A Division II state championship game against Katy. And we focused on Gary Joseph earlier this week. So he'll join us. Cedar Hill had a practice that wrapped up about 4 o'clock. The Longhorns, and, of course, the place that Joey McGuire built. So Carlos Lynn is coming up next. And this is SicEm365 Radio. All right, through today, and they're almost closed at 6 o'clock. And tomorrow, open from 10 until 5, Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco has the following items of this week. Again, this runs through tomorrow. Whole chickens for $1.25 a pound. Chuck roast for $3.99 a pound. Bone-in pork butt for $1.15 a pound. Breakfast sausage patties, $2.50 a pound. And they have regular and colossal lump crab. Regular $15 each. Colossal lump crab, it's $24. 10% off all boar's head, lunch meats, and bone-in select ribeyes are $9.99 a pound. You think that's it? No. Through tonight and at 6 o'clock, and tomorrow 10 until 5, the bakery. Goodies like croissants, fresh breads, muffins, pecan twist, chocolate overload cake, banana foster cake, New York cheesecake, kolaches, cherry, apple, peach, cream cheese, apricot, and also there's link sausage and cheese, jalapeno link sausage, ground sausage and cheese when it comes to kolaches, and fried pies available inside the bakery, apple, lemon, apricot, chocolate, coconut, blueberry, cherry, and peach. My God, that can make your stomach start to growl. It's Waco Custom Marketplace, open until 6 tonight, 10 to 5 tomorrow at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
Well, earlier, And within the last hour, Aledo 56, Crosby 21. That's the final. Denton Ryan tonight against Cedar Park. Tomorrow night, South Lake, Carroll, Westlake. And then tomorrow afternoon, Katy and Cedar Hill for the 6A Division II state championship. We're now joined by Carlos Lynn, the head coach at Cedar Hill. Coach, what does an appearance in the state championship mean? And even more so because of what you've had to handle throughout the last several months with all that's been going on in the country and also with COVID.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share this evening. You know, it will mean the world. It's special. You know, you have an opportunity. You know, every team has an opportunity at the beginning of the season, and you never know how it's going to end. You never know what's going to happen. But your hope is to be where we are tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. So it'll be very, very special, and having to navigate this run through a global pandemic is kind of like, you know, a cherry on top. This is because of all of the extra things that we had to do on top of, you know, trying to win ball games, on top of, you know, trying to keep kids academically eligible, and all the things that coaches ordinarily do, added on with the COVID protocol, just made it makes it a little bit more sweeter just to make it to the end.
How did you have to adjust just conditioning? Because you started late, you didn't have them, you had them, and then, you know, some guys you don't have because maybe there's COVID or whatever. How did you adjust that to make it to January the 15th?
You know, we really relied on, you know, our kids' ability to, you know, to want it. You know, they had to have some intrinsic motivation when we was, you know, on lockdown, and we couldn't get to the schools, and you couldn't get, you know, to the weight room. But you could go outside in your backyard. You could run a block. You could go to the local parks. And our kids and our coaches did a fantastic job of managing through the times when we couldn't be together. And the times that we were together, once UIL said we could start working out, we had a great plan, and we utilized every second of it.
Coach, being 12-1, you would think that you guys get headlines galore, and you do to an extent, but do you feel like even at 12-1, you somehow kind of quietly done this season?
Yeah, it's been that way, but you're in your own bubble, and when you're in your own bubble, you're kind of oblivious to what's going on outside. We knew that we had work to do. We knew that, we knew what our goals were. We knew what we wanted to accomplish. And we were going to just kind of keep our head down and keep grinding until we made it to January the 16th, and we're blessed to be here.
Joey McGuire sent me a text when I told him we were scheduling you for the show. He is one of the best people I know. We were together for 10 years, an assistant together. He was my defensive coordinator from 03 to 07. You, of course, were a part of that 06 state championship team. What kind of role did he have in your career, and also how often do you still keep in touch with him?
Joe and I, we talk at least 2 to 3 times a week, whether it be on the phone or via text or something. We have some type of communication every week. And just, the things that I learned from him, just how you treat people, how you lead with passion and continue to make sure that, the kids, are the utmost importance in everything that we do. Being student driven and student centered is things that I always carry away with me from Joey. He's going to take care of these boys, and when you build relationships with them, and when you care for them, and they know that you love them, they'll run through walls for you. Can you get to that level of enthusiasm that he can? You might have a coordinator trying to get to that level of enthusiasm. He's off the charts in that area.
No kidding. Yeah.
Coach, I saw that the legend there at Cedar Hill, William Cole, stopped by this week. It was, a long time ago now, but doesn't seem that long ago for those of us who saw him, just dazzling the state of Texas and fans nationwide with his performances as a Longhorn. What was his message, and how cool is that to have guys like that you can call upon to come and talk to the team at any time?
His message was just to have fun. You're not going to get another chance. This specific group will never get an opportunity to play together ever again. And he was just real adamant about enjoying this time, enjoying this moment, just because it's so scarce. And just being able to see William Cole with your own eyes. It's hard to really quantify all of the things that he did on the football field. He's definitely a Texas high school football legend.
Yeah, he could play now. Man, could he scoot? No question about it. Now, you play Katy. There's a history there between Katy and Cedar Hill. We had Gary Joseph on this week. We've been able to try to focus most of the teams. And he said, yeah, the problem with that is that none of these guys who are playing on Saturday afternoon were a part of any of those previous Cedar Hill-Katy games. Is there a memory or two about the previous meetings with them? Because Cedar Hill has the edge in that series?
Well, they were all battles. These teams, that make it to the state championship game, man, they're so battle tested, and it's just a clash of titans. Right there, with their brand of football, and I don't think we've seen a team go on the center all year. And they're downhill, and they're coming at you, and just it's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be one of those deals where you're gonna have to buckle up your chin strap a little bit tighter, tighten up those shoulder pads a little bit more, because they make you play gritty football. And that's what those are the memories that you have when you see a Katy football team versus Cedar Hill. It's just one of those games where you're like, man, those boys out there really playing football. When the fathers of the game decided to invent it, this is what they envision. Just kids just getting after it and playing their hearts out.
Carlos Lynn, head coach at Cedar Hill, with us on SicEm365 Radio. What would a state championship mean to you as a head coach? You've experienced before. Cedar Hill has had their runs before. But what would it mean? I know it's about the children, the kids, the players, the young men. What would it mean to Carlos Lynn?
Personally, that is on my goal sheet, is to win a state championship as a head coach. I would be lying if I told you it wasn't. Very special. I don't think there's a head coach alive that doesn't want to check that box. Mm-hmm. And just having to do it in the midst of a pandemic, having to do it back here at Cedar Hill, where I feel like I cut my coaching teeth, will make it even more special.
And we brought it up earlier about having to kind of grind through all of what you dealt with. Was there a certain moment in particular, out of so many, I'm sure, that really kind of maybe even brought this team together more than ever before? Something that maybe had been off the field, or something where somebody had to struggle and they were dealing with something. Is there anything in particular that may have just launched this thing into another orbit for you?
Well, I believe it was after the Duncanville loss. No one really gave us a chance. No one really thought that it would even be a game. And our kids, a break here or there, and it's probably a different ball game. Probably a different outcome in favor of us. We felt like we didn't probably play our best ball, but at the same time, we played good enough to win the ball game, and that showed us something that we belong. That this team is one that needs to that should be reckoned with. And we walked away from that game, upset about the loss, but hopeful about our prospects.
Yeah, and that was coming off the emotional game with DeSoto. That was a shootout, correct? 49-42, you beat them, and you turn around and you have that's a pretty good sledgehammer back-to-back weeks.
Absolutely. If we design that again, boy, that's going to be trouble, man. That's tough back-to-back with those teams.
Were you surprised you saw Duncanville get knocked out last week by South Lake Carroll, who's another, of course, tradition-rich name?
Fifth round of the playoffs. I wasn't. You have to take your hat off to teams that make it this far. Those teams didn't get there for a reason. Yes, indeed.
Carlos, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow against Katy, and thanks for your time. And we'll send your thanks to Joey McGuire. I'm sure he's listening as well.
Absolutely. Tell him I said hello. I appreciate it.
Carlos Lynn, he was a part of Joey McGuire's staff, part of that 06 championship game. We've seen Cedar Hill twice doing games when we did the games for Midway. And one of them was a game, I think it was in Midlothian, when they had the quarterback that went to Oregon.
It was
and
Mansfield.
Mansfield. And that was the difference. Kramer Robertson and Midway were really good. It was like 49-35, but they couldn't stop him on short yardage. And then they came to Midway. Joey McGuire's team, they won it in 14, I think it was, whatever it was. They came into Midway, and it was just Katie by the bar the door. They were fantastic. They went on to win a state championship. They have been really, really good over the years. All right, when we come back, we're going to update you on a couple of things. Baylor women's basketball. Kim Mulkey, we thought today was going to be a part of their media session. Queen Egbo was. Bill Brock was. Where was Kim Mulkey? What's up with that as they play Iowa State tomorrow? This is SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. By the way, Paul, you can't leave because Ted Teague yesterday, when you went off on Urban Meyer, sent me a text that said, Paul is on a roll. And then I told him, I said, because he hates Urban Meyer because of only one reason.
No.
He coached the Florida Gators.
That was the first reason. That
set the table for any other reason.
Yes, I mean, that's what opened the door. I mean, that was the key that unlocked the door. But then, once I opened the door, there were a myriad of reasons not to like him.
But that was the first, and that's why you don't like him. Ted Teague was listening to us. Ted, thank you very much. He said, also, by the way, the guys at Alabama, when they get in trouble, they know that they're pretty much gone. So he was complimenting Nick Saban in what they do with the Crimson Tide. Ted Teague, of course, they're the app sponsor of SicEm365 Radio and the car dealership that right now, Customer First Award for Excellence, they've won it again. Right now, incredible cashback offers and subprime offers on a lot of their vehicles. Check these out all the way through January the 21st. 2020 Dodge Charger SXT values at $5,670. $5,670 or 0% for 72 months standalone. 2020 Dodge Journey, the most affordable third-row seating vehicle with total values of $6,750. If you're looking for something tougher than nails, there's the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude, values up to $6,750 off. The most decorated SUV, the Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus and the Lux, with up to $5,500 in special values. And the Jeep Grand Cherokee, the 2021 value, the Laredo, $4,250 in total values off. And, of course, Ram Truck. Ram Truck, back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year, including the Ram 2021 Ram 1500 Crew Cab. Lone Star values up to $7,250 off or 0% for 60 months. Or, by the way, 2.9% for 72 plus $3,000 in total value back. That's Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Well, how about this? I promoted the SicEm365.com/store, and Armstrong, it's up with the hat that Craig is wearing. Very nice. It almost looks like a Masters caddy's hat. That Masters green. All right, thanks to Carlos Lynn. He was also on that Wilmer Hutchins State Championship team that was so good. Thanks to Gary Comer. He just sent me a text. Gary, I didn't look at my text. I'm sorry I did not do that. Now, a couple of notes. Let's update a few things. Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes met earlier today with the media. We've heard from Jeff Grimes ourselves. We're going to have that today. Very in-depth with him at 5 o'clock. Also, Dave Aranda talked about many things, but also in just a second, his thoughts about the strength and conditioning coach. That was a change from Corey Campbell to Vic Valoria. Phil Bennett told me Monday night sometime, and he will come back on with us most likely quite a bit. It's not going to be every week, but it's going to be pretty close to that. That he knows Vic Valoria. He said, I basically maybe changed his diapers. I didn't want to see that picture in my head, but he loves Vic Valoria. He was at SMU at one point.
I bet you that was a jacked baby.
Yeah,
Vic Valoria.
No kidding.
Came out
doing
just a
push-ups.
Baby, like he just, hey, we got it into a bottle. He threw it against the wall and it shattered.
All right, let's look at a couple of things. Cameron Yo, I mentioned yesterday that there's a good chance there might be a change. Today, Kevin Sprinkles, the superintendent, confirmed that they posted the job. Tommy Brashear was 41-19 at Yo. 4-5, though, last year, and he's out. He's an alum. He was a part as the defensive coordinator of Rick Rhodes' teams that won 3 consecutive state titles in 12, 13, and 14.
That's a great dude.
Crosby, Alito B. Crosby, 56-21. That's a final. Jets have hired Robert Saleh as a head coach.
Took them long enough to find somebody, it feels like.
I like the move. I like anybody hiring Robert Saleh as a head coach.
Lebanese American. And he was
intense.
like was he one? If you had a list of the top 5 offseason candidates for a head coaching job after the year ended, was he like 1 and 1A?
Yeah, I would think so. I think Urban Meyer,
defensive coordinator with San Francisco.
I think Urban Meyer is probably number 1 for a lot of people as well because he got more.
Yeah, I'm talking about guys who were in the game.
Yeah, and I'm curious. Eric Bieniemy's name is out there. The Chargers still need a head coach, and the Texans still need a head coach, and the Lions need new head coach, although it appears that the Lions are zeroing in on Dan Campbell, former Texas A&M star.
Guy the Cowboys were interested
born in Clifton, Texas, as a matter of fact. Dan Campbell, he played for the Cowboys. He's a Parcells guy. I mean, you hear Dan Campbell talking, it's kind of like, a Parcells thing. So he might get that Lions job. But I think he did play for them, too.
I like that the Urban Meyer welcomed the Jacksonville, excitement died down immediately after reports mentioned that Scott Linehan's a leading candidate to be his offensive coordinator, that apparently they have a tie. And so everybody went from, wow, they got Urban Meyer to, oh, well, never mind. He's bringing in Scott Linehan. So
his key is his staff, right, to keep him from having to do everything like he wanted, because he's kind of a control freak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Robert Saleh, that's a good hire. It's still the Jets, so there's a lot of work to be done there. I don't know if that's a job that I would want, but he's a guy who obviously wants to be a head coach, so you got to take you where you can get it, and it's New York, and
good luck.
They don't have high expectations because they stink.
He's regarded as an upbeat, energetic coach. I've seen a couple of clips on him.
You know, I wish that the Knicks and Jets would get bought by the guy who just bought the Mets.
Yeah.
The Cohen, I believe. Steve Cohen is the guy who bought the Mets, and he's kind of, I don't think he's just a spend money willy-nilly, but he's invested in his very valuable property, as where the Wilpons had kind of, after they got taken by Bernie Madoff, had been like, all right, we're going to see what happens here.
All right, Urban Meyer tried to throw a curveball at nobody. He said, hey, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, all potential picks. That's going to be one of the most important decisions in my lifetime. Seeing elite quarterbacks out there right now. Would you give up a body part to say he would pick anyone else but Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I mean,
unless they trade the pick down 1 or 2 spots and get.
He actually might have committed tampering because Justin Fields hasn't officially announced yet.
All right,
but he did coach him, so I guess
Arthur Smith is the new coach of Atlanta.
Yeah, so we're seeing all these coordinators now getting these jobs. I mean, San Francisco losing Saleh, and now obviously Tennessee will be having to replace some guys as well, including one of their best, assistant coaches. So, I mean, it's that time of year, and these jobs are now starting to fill up pretty quickly.
You know why this guy's a head coach right now?
No.
Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, yeah.
Look, anybody can say, hey, Derrick Henry, give him the ball.
Yeah.
But Ryan Tannehill, the resurrection of his career was a lot of
he was not very good in that playoff game, was he?
No.
Keontae Ingram, I mentioned this earlier as we talked about it. Texas running back out of Carthage entered the transfer portal. Bijan Robinson is their running back.
Well, they'll have more than one. I mean, as we saw with Alabama, Sarkisian, I think this, if anything, is just dead weight. Keontae Ingram's a talented player, but I think his college career at this point has been highlighted more by really inopportune times to be fumbling the football versus any great runs. He's got talent, there's no doubt, but it's another example of, how excited people get about things they haven't seen yet. Keontae Ingram was, he's going to come in and he's going to be like the greatest running back. All the things that we're hearing about Bijan right now, a lot of similar things were said about Keontae Ingram, but obviously the fumbling problem revealed itself. So I think that's actually maybe addition by subtraction for Texas, if that makes sense.
Oklahoma State men's basketball game for tomorrow been postponed. Also, Baylor plays at Texas Tech, number 2 Baylor against top 15 Texas Tech, coming off the win against Texas. Now, let's get to the Lady Bears. Something interesting here, Paul. So today there was a media session, thanks again, as always, to Kyle Robards for the women's basketball program. And so at 12:30, the football deal was at 12:45, Jeff Grimes and then Dave Aranda. So you and I spoke, hey, let's get a couple of notes from Kim about being back and playing again and all that, because they've missed games, the UConn game and the conference games, I guess 1 or 2 already since then. Well, she wasn't there.
Not officially cleared until tomorrow if she gets cleared.
She won't know if she's going to be a part of the game at home against Iowa State until sometime tomorrow or Saturday. Now, Queen Egbo was there. Bill Brock was there. Kyle Robards read a statement. Based on that statement, it made it sound 50-50 that Kim would be there. I'm going to think she is. Number 2.
You think she's going to come out like Willis Reed?
I think like the Undertaker.
I think Glass is going to smash like Stone Cold, and she's going to barging out of the
smoke
tunnel.
Coming out of the tunnel. Now, the other thing is this. They made it also, they almost positioned this, and I'm not saying there's mind games here because I don't think you do that with COVID, but as if they have, and this is the part to me, with all due respect, it almost made it sound like they're at where they need to be by Big 12 protocol on the number of players. So this could drag into the roster.
Yeah,
Did that not get you? Get
yeah,
that?
That's
same
the
feeling?
bigger issue to me because
Well, you just said that's bigger than Kim Mulkey.
Oh yeah, it is because look, in conference play right now, and part of that is just the faith that you have to have in Bill Brock. I mean, they can win games for a couple nights of Bill Brock's coaching. I mean, they can do that, and if they have all their players, because they have the better players. But if they don't have the better players, which they have than the rest of the league and have for now the better part of a decade than the Big 12, they've been head and shoulders above all of them talent-wise. If they don't have the depth, then that's a much bigger issue than the coach being out. Because again, Bill Brock can coach.
No, he's done it before.
Yeah,
but
so
you're talking about a Hall of Fame coach, and guess who was the last conference team to beat Baylor?
Iowa State?
Yeah,
at the end of last year, yeah.
Remember that controversial foul on Dee Dee Richards at the end of the game, otherwise they would have run the table? Well, bottom line is that so she will know, I guess, maybe it sounds like to me there's a test. The part that caught my attention, and kind of similar to I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, is that it sounded like they're at where they need to be with the protocol within the Big 12 to play the game. They were not, we were not, and I did not ask a question. I was listening for once in my life, and that's the part I heard. Now, when somebody tried to, it might have been either, I think it was Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki.
She tried to ask a question about players or something like that, and then Kyle came in and said, we've already read the statement. So they're really keeping this very close to the vest. I'm going to say Kim will be there. The question to me is who else will be there as far as the players. But she has to pass the test, and we don't know that. Last time I think I communicated with her just to see how she was doing, she was still having some of the symptoms you have for battling COVID. I don't know what those, I've never had them. I hope to God I never do, but that's where we are with that. They play tomorrow, that game with the Iowa State, all right? What time's that game tip tomorrow? It's a 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
So they have time to test, that's for sure.
She has time to rent Nick Saban's Lear.
Yeah.
As she probably has enough to where she has, in fact, she does have at times her own pilot.
Well, she doesn't need to fly anywhere. It's here. So.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to fly
That'd be really bougie.
You got to fly to like
in
Bob
town.
Bowlesby's house somewhere and get the test.
Was this Los Angeles?
So Bill Brock is right now, at least he continues. I think Bill loves the attention. I mean, I'm kidding, Bill. He's a hell of a coach, but remember. He's been there with her for a long, long time. He knows all the ins and out of that program. So there's that.
I would think the biggest change is there's less likely to be a technical foul when Bill Brock is coaching.
That's fair. Yeah, the odds for that have gone down. But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I mean, she's either going to be ready or she's not, and they're either going to have everybody available or they're not, and we'll see what happens. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
All right. There was something that popped up on my timeline. I know we got Jeff Grimes coming up. A couple of things. Paul, you're the one that sent me this. Women's basketball. South Carolina was leading Vanderbilt in the third quarter, 61-15. And then this was the note. Okay, that's not a surprise, right? Vanderbilt did not score in the second quarter. Oh. God. Here's the Ted Teague text to me. Paul's Alabama players know if they act up, it's simple, they're out. I said, Paul's anything Florida Gators hater. That almost rhymes.
No, look, I like Emmitt Smith.
Did you when he was playing there?
I mean, I was
you were
really,
5 years
really
old.
young.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have I wouldn't have registered on the level.
Name 3 Florida guys you like.
I like Emmitt Smith,
Tebow and Urban. That's it.
No. I'll tell you, I've always had a lot of respect for Danny Werfel. The way
did he ever beat the?
Oh yeah, he did. Well, he did. He split it. Yeah. He split that year.
Oh God, here we go.
He won the Heisman. So
why did you have to bring this up, David?
Let's see. A third one. Did it have to be like Tom Petty was from Gainesville. Okay. He counts.
All right, Troy Aikman.
Breaching.
There was a report by Michael David Smith online for Pro Football Talk, whatever they call it. Troy Aikman. Attributing this to Aikman. Doug Peterson wanted Jalen Hurts. Jeffrey Lurie wanted Carson Wentz. Aikman then tweeted out at this report, not even close to what was said.
You mean that media guys take like a shell of something and report it as a story, and it's not always truthful? Weird.
And
Weird.
Michael Smith may have read this story or may have written the story, and I looked through it, and it kind of insinuates that. I don't know if he ever actually attributed Troy Aikman to saying exactly that, but headline writers.
The headline, Troy Aikman, Doug Peterson, and Jeffrey Lurie. I mean, he says no, the headline writers are not the writers themselves most of the time. But, that's pretty much what the article indicates.
That's happened a little bit with pro football. But where is Shireen? That's where she is. And she's as good. You don't have to worry about her reporting. Now, Adrian Peterson, this was interesting to me. Did you see this, guys?
Yeah.
He's ordered to pay $8.3 million to a loan company. And here's the part that caught my attention. In the initial settlement agreement, Peterson had notarized on October of 2019. He acknowledged the existence and continuation of his default. But here's the part. He was supposed to make $50,000 payments from October the 18th and October 31st of 2019, and then a bubble payment of $2.25 million in November, and then a final payment within 25 days of $25,000, and then everything's off the table. So it would have been around $2.5 million or so, and he would have been done. But because he defaulted on even that, he now owes and has to pay $8.3 million. That's 4 times what he would have paid.
I know he's had it, but it makes me wonder if he's got it anymore.
I mean, that's
made over $100 million in his career.
If you've got the money to pay it, I don't know why you don't pay it, just so that you could pay $6 million more. So I don't want to speak on another man's money like that, but it makes me think that, he might not have it to spend. And if that's the case, I mean, he'd be far from the first athlete to blow through his money, but he's been around a really long time, and he's not going to be able to keep jumping onto one-year deals with like the Lions and stuff like that for much longer, for like even maybe more than 2 years. So, and at this point, he's not making that type of money anyways. So, man, I really hope that that's not what it appears to look like, and that was just a misunderstanding or something, because that would be bad news.
Final thing with James Harden, and then we come back with Jeff Grimes. He sent and see if we had enough to compete with the best teams in the league. As time went on and free agency and things like that started to go on, I felt like we didn't have a chance. As much as I love the city of Houston, love being there, I think at this point of my career, it's not about the money. It's not about anything else but having a chance to reach the ultimate goal, which is winning at the highest level. It didn't go as well or as smooth as I would like to have loved it to, but I think both sides are now happy.
Well, it's not about the money. He's giving $100,000 away to some rapper on his birthday. Like, that's the kind of money he's blowing through. So, money's definitely not an issue for that idiot. And it's about winning. Yeah, it's about winning for everybody, but where did this come into line where winning's just like, oh, well, it's not happening here quickly enough for me, so I want to go jump on the team where it's going to be easier. So basically he's just saying, I want to go where it's easier to win, is what James Harden is saying there.
Well, and of course, if you're going to go somewhere it's easy to win,
I hope that
the
implodes.
Nets.
Yeah, I hope that implodes.
The long history of winning the New Jersey, now Brooklyn Nets. Yeah. I mean, come on. I know KD and Kyrie are there, but KD's the only one of those two dudes that has multiple rings. Kyrie has one with LeBron, but, KD and Kyrie are in that same situation. They've not won one without the other guy, or guys in KD's case.
Yeah, I didn't have really any sort of an opinion on the Nets, like as far as wanting to see them win or not wanting to see them win. Now that Harden's on the team, I definitely don't want to see them win a ring. That might be the most obnoxious trio of guys to win a ring, too. Between the way Kyrie is with the media and the way Harden is, KD's not as bad, but he's definitely not great at times. But, not necessarily bad dudes, but Harden's just the prototype NBA spoiled superstar, and it's too hard to win here, even though they've done everything in their power to try to help bring in Russell Westbrook. They do everything that they can to help you win, but it's not quick enough for you, and now you're suddenly unhappy, so you want to go where it's easier. I have no respect for him in that way.
Sam Kahn just tweeted he's out at ESPN after 8.5 years. Today's his last day. He's a great friend of the show. He was one of those. We appreciate him, that if we had something on this show, and we've had stories on this show the last, 9 months, whether Mack Rhodes or something Baylor or Dave Aranda or something we might have had, he always made sure he credited us, and we appreciate Sam Kahn. Good luck. He won't be out, you hope, for very long.
No, and if he's out for very long, then there's a bunch of publications that are whiffing on a great reporter.
When we come back, we had Jeff Grimes on the show Wednesday. It was lengthy enough to where today when I asked him a question in the media session, he thought, I'm done with you. I thought I was done with you, right? Well, we're not. We're not done with him either. In fact, we come back with Jeff Grimes, full throttle, hair on fire. Baylor's offensive coordinator is next on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, I'm going to paint a 2021 scenario for you. You've got somebody, you're back at work at the office, you're doing all you can to social distance and masks and whatnot, but, somebody gets a positive COVID test. And, all right, well, what do? You need to have 20 to 25 employees, maybe even more, mass tested. All right, so who you call? Impact Health Labs. Go to impacthealthlabs.com. Let me give you a little background of the Impact Health Labs story. This is 3 former military medical professionals that have set up this company. They're about precision, they're about accuracy, they're about getting the results right and getting them quickly. And that's what they do at Impact Health Labs. They are all, you meet these guys, they are impressive individuals with what they have started at Impact Health Labs and the way that they're doing this. They will come to you. And whatever test you need, they will come to your location. They will do the tests, and you'll have them back in 24 hours. Plus, the cost out of pocket to you, not very high because they accept most major forms of insurance. So people can turn into their insurance companies. Done. That's it. So it's not a high cost. You are getting your staff tested. You're getting it done quickly, and you don't have to worry about, do I have to have a 2-week quarantine on my hand if you're just talking about one person that tested positive. So you get those results. And if you do have a problem, now you can deal with it with the facts. And that's what Impact Health Labs does. So to schedule your mass test today, impacthealthlabs.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers. Staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Looking to the end zone. Got to make a touchdown.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
We are now joined by Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes, who's been on Zoom meetings with his coaching staff on SicEm365 Radio. Jeff, thank you. So many people have wanted to hear from you, and we appreciate your time. Did you even know what Zoom meetings were maybe a year ago or so?
I did not. When somebody told me what they were, I wasn't really excited about doing them, to be honest with you. But that was the world we had to live in for a little while, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, it was, and it's something we've had to adapt to. And isn't that kind of also in a way, as an offensive line coach or an offensive coordinator, either getting ready for recruiting or practicing or in-game decisions is all about adaptation?
Yeah, sure it is. You got to be flexible, and you got to be able to overcome whatever challenges are thrown at you, right?
Coach, we've had a lot of your former employers on this show, from R.C. Slocum to Mike Sherman, Frank Beamer yesterday, lots and lots of guys, and all of them said that you kind of stood out to them as someone who really had a keen football knowledge, and then you had a great coaching staff when you're in college. Where did your kind of football brain start to pick up into coach mode?
Well, first, I got to say, y'all did some digging, because I had to go back and thank a lot of people for all the nice things they said about me, and I try to pay them well. But, yeah, surprised to hear all the people that said something about me, and they all texted me and said that I owed them now. But
yeah.
My favorite was Mike Sherman. He said, "Oh, I thought they were asking about your wife, Sherry."
She did get a lot of compliments.
When I was a graduate assistant for him, he called and recommended. This was when he was the line coach at A&M, back probably 97, or 96, probably first year of the Big 12, and he recommended me for a job. And I said, "Coach, I really can't thank you enough." He said, "Well, it really wasn't that hard. I just kind of looked at a picture of myself and pretended I was talking about me." So I asked him, "Did you do that again?" No, you know what? I've been really, really fortunate to be around a lot of really good coaches, a lot of great people. And, we're all a product of our environment to some extent. And I'm certainly no exception to that. And I've got a lot of people to be grateful for the time and energy that they've invested in me becoming the coach that I am now. And it started back as a high school football coach here in this state, really even before then, playing football in this state. Some of the guys that y'all heard me talk about probably in my interview here, but a lot of people to be thankful for there. And then a lot of people that I coached for early in my career that really set the tone for me and how to do this, and in terms of how you treat people, the people that you work with, the people you work for, and certainly most importantly, the players that you coach. And I feel blessed that I still have relationships with people from all along that route.
How excited are you to get back to your home state?
Man, really, really excited. I mean, so I lived somewhere in Texas until I was 30, and really kind of thought I would be here, you know, for most of my life. And then, you know, kind of went into the coaching route. And once I decided, okay, I want to go do the college thing, I talked to my wife about it. And she's from Texas too. And she said, okay, well, I'd be cool with any of these states. So she starts naming off the states that she would be good with: Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, all those states touch Texas, okay? And so then my first big-time coaching job, my first Division I coaching opportunity came at Boise State in 2000, working for Dirk Cutter. And so this was before internet and having maps on your phones or anything like that. And so I pulled out one of those old maps. You know, we had one of those where it had a big map that had a different page for every state, and pulled out the state of Idaho, and she looked at it and she goes, "Oh my gosh, Idaho borders Canada." And I said, "Yeah, no, let's get packed up. We're leaving soon." So off we went, and all over the place since then. But yeah, to be back in Texas is a special thing for me, my family, my wife's family, and a lot of friends and coaches that I've known. You know, even when I've been at various places in the United States coaching college football, I still recruited this state most of those years, and so I have a lot of really close connections with high school coaches. And so, yeah, it's more than a cool thing. It's a special thing to me to be back here.
We tracked down your coach at Lakeview Centennial, Coach Jack Catlett, and he talked about how one day after practice, or many times after practice, he worked with you. And that at times, because your body was 6'5" at the time, and you had to kind of grow into that with the coordination, and that he spent time with you. You mentioned how much that meant to you, how much Frank Beamer working special teams with little index cards about the scouting report or whatever, how much that meant to you. I also had somebody on staff tell me today that you're tough and demanding, but treats people the right way. And isn't that what you learned from Andy Reid as well?
Lots of people, for sure. Yeah, and the thing about Coach Reid, and I've been blessed to still call him a mentor and someone that is kind enough to stay in touch with me. We stole a play from them this year, and it was kind of a special play, something that you would just run once, maybe twice in a season. And it was exactly a play that they ran to Travis Kelce. And so somebody right after the game put a little thing on social media with a copy of their play and then ours right after it. And so I texted him and said, I was on the plane. We were just about to take off. And I said, I guess I should have asked for permission first. And he texted me right back and said, "No, I'm just glad it worked for you." But he was a great coach. And I think the thing that was really special about him is he could ride you hard, and was incredibly demanding, had really high expectations. But he could do it in a way that just made me want to do better, And I had some coaches where that wasn't always the case. It made me have ill feelings towards them maybe, but certainly not the case with him. And, just wanted to please him in the way that I wanted to please my dad. And so I hope I can have that same sort of impact on guys.
Jeff Grimes, Baylor offensive coordinator, with us on SicEm365 Radio. Paul?
Jeff, obviously you've got you got your work cut out for you. This offense last year struggled to kind of find an identity, and a lot of that could have been chalked up to the fact that they didn't have an off season. Knowing that things will probably be different, and you might have stuff to combine it with last year and this year a little bit as far as procedures. How do you kind of attack 2021 and getting to know this offense before you even know what spring's going to be?
Yeah, I think. What I'll do is just assume the best. And that's one of the things that I've always tried to do is have a positive outlook on the way things are going, and then the way you hope that they would go. And then you adopt to whatever is placed in front of you. So certainly that's what we did last year at BYU, we had to adapt. We had an entire, well, not an entire schedule, but almost our entire schedule canceled and had to start over. And you know, I think as good coaches, that's part of our job. We have to be able to adapt and overcome to the challenges that are placed in front of us. But, you know, I think right now we're spending some time really getting caught up on recruiting and finding which guys that I and the rest of our staff really like and want to try to really get to know. And then next week we'll have the players back here on campus. And, you know, the biggest thing is I think just beginning to get to know them and establish a trust. And I've certainly done that with a few guys who have been in town, and then, you know, by phone with everybody that I can be in touch with. But really just establishing trust. And, you know, one thing that I've noticed with these guys is that they're eager. They're anxious to learn a new system, and they're excited to get started. And I think a lot like the BYU team that I joined 3 years ago, coming off of a tough year offensively, I really got the sense that they wanted to be good. And I sort of get that same feeling in talking with our players right now. And so I'm excited about getting started with them.
So that you kind of answered my question a little bit there as far as what you're up to right now, but with, you know, getting the ball going, hitting the ground running, what does that kind of mean for you as you slide into a new role?
Well, the first thing would be just getting all the coaches on the same page as me in terms of what our culture is going to be on offense, and basically teaching them the system, making sure that we're all on the same page, and then that'll move on to the players. And so we'll really begin that next week. Like I said, right now, most of what we've done this week is really focused on recruiting. Next week, we'll spend a lot of time going through the playbook, working our way through that with the staff, and then begin teaching it to the players. But, you know, it starts with having the right mindset. And if we have the right mindset and the right culture, then the plays and the offense will take care of themselves.
There are 4 quarterbacks in that room that you will be dealing with, and of course, obviously, as the offensive coordinator, one of them arriving on campus very soon. But you obviously you mentioned that you looked and saw what was going on within that quarterback room. Are those 4, is that what you're going to start with, or do you feel like you still might add somebody else to that room? And what do you see when you look at those 4?
I think there's natural talent there that needs to be developed, just like there is at every position. And we have enough talent to win, but we're always looking to upgrade. And so with, you know, the nature of the transfer game that we're in college football right now, I think you're foolish if you're not always having one eye open at least and keeping your mind open to upgrading your squad with a great player at any position. And so I would say it would not be outside the realm of possibility for us to add one there or at any position.
Jeff Grimes, Baylor offensive coordinator, with us on Sic'em365 Radio. When it comes to the staff, and that's now set, there are some that remained on staff on the offensive side of the football, including Sean Bell, who's been an offensive line coach, a tight ends coach, and now he's a guy who's handling the quarterbacks. How much of an influence did you have with Coach Aranda on who stayed or who came?
We had a lot of really good talks about it, and you know, once it kind of felt like we were both moving towards doing this, that was certainly the next topic at hand. And Sean was an integral part of this decision for me and finding a way to make it work. And so what Dave said is, you know, I want you and Sean to get on the phone and spend some time together. And so we did a FaceTime call and talked about everything from our families and backgrounds and just getting to know each other. And I knew his dad because I've been to his dad's high school when I was recruiting. I can't remember when, too many years, but I came through China Spring and got to know his dad a little bit in recruiting a number of years ago. But we just caught up first and then spent some time really talking football, talking offensive philosophy, talking about the details of quarterback play, drills, mechanics, reads and progressions with various passing concepts. And I just had a real comfort level with with who he was as a person. There was an instant connection with us there. And then secondly, his overall knowledge of the game and offensive philosophy really was something I felt good about and felt like that would mesh well with what I wanted to bring in. And then lastly, was impressed with his knowledge of quarterback play. And obviously, he hasn't done that here, but he's coached quarterbacks at the high school level a great deal, and he's an incredibly sharp guy, as y'all know. And he's going to do a tremendous job with our quarterbacks. And I felt great about it, but it was a big part of my decision coming here with me, not necessarily being a quarterback guy. Finding the right piece there was going to be something really important for me. And, a lot of coordinators are quarterback coaches, but I think sometimes, there's no question that that's the most important position on offense. I think everyone recognizes that. If that guy can play, then all the other things certainly have a chance to take care of themselves. But, if you're not the quarterback coach as the coordinator, I think it gives you an advantage in a way because it allows that guy to really invest all of his time and energy into that position and those guys and really have a chance to get them playing at a high level. I feel very confident that's going to happen.
Well, Phil Bennett told us that the best offensive coordinators are offensive line guys. So clearly, that's where you fit in right there as an offensive line guy, because you see more as an offensive lineman. You have to see you have to know what everybody's doing.
Well, you know what? That reminds me. I haven't put the check in the mail still yet, so I need to make sure I get that done.
You're writing a lot of them.
Yeah. I think coordinators come from all positions, and I think it starts with a guy who can see the big picture. And even for all the years that I was coaching the offensive line, I tried to see the big picture and tried to understand the passing game and understand coverage and recognize situational football, and all of those things always mattered to me. And so I think whether you're an offensive line coach or a receiver coach or a running back coach, if you're a quality coach and you can see the big picture and you have leadership skills, then you can be a good coordinator.
I'm sure you've heard multiple times by now that the offensive line was an issue for Baylor last season. I know you'd be calling plays and doing all of that, but bringing in Coach Mateos and just where do you start with an offensive line, not just Baylor's as we're talking about specifically, but, beginning that process and grooming them, how does that begin?
Well, for the offensive line, for any position, but particularly for the offensive line, it starts with building the right mindset. If those guys are tough and physical and have the right mindset, then everybody else will be. It's kind of like, I tell them all the time, you guys are the tip of the spears. You're the big brothers. I was telling somebody the story the other day. I got a big dog and a little dog, and behind our house there's a couple of German shepherds, and my little dog will run about halfway to the edge of the fence, and then she stops and she'll kind of start yapping right there. But when the big dog comes out, then she'll run all the way right up to the fence, and she's a whole lot braver then. It's kind of like that with everybody on offense. I think if those guys are the big dogs, if they operate the way that provides confidence and aggression and toughness, then the rest of the team will fall right in line. And so they have to do that in order for the quarterback or running back or any position to have success. So honestly, I put more pressure on them than I do any other position on the team. And I know there's work to do there, just like there is anywhere, but Coach Mateos and I promise you're up for the challenge.
Do you remember when you were at Lakeview Centennial when Coach Catlett asked you to double team block as a guard against Rockwall, and that how you handled that and how you did not give up and you did not say, I can't do it? Do you remember that far back?
No, you know what? Well, I do remember, as I said in that other interview, I remember working with him after practice. I remember him being the first coach that I can remember caring enough to say, hey, Grimes, stay here and let's work on this a little bit more. I don't remember the exact team or play or any of those specific things. He, at an age that's much beyond mine, he has a better memory than I do, I think. But I love the guy, and I was messaging back and forth with him today, and just really grateful for the example that he gave me at an early age, and really the confidence that he gave me, because I was not a great player early on, and it took me a little while, like it does a lot of big guys, to try to allow my coordination to catch up with the rest of me.
Well, I'm short and uncoordinated, so it happens to all of us, Jeff.
Well, and for some of us, it never catches.
Yeah, I'm raising my hand. Here, the coach that brought you into college, Armstrong, do you have this with Bob Stoll, the audio with Bob Stoll? Hold on, this is very short. We had him on. He was another one. I mean, we went around. It's like, this is your life. Whenever that time comes, we've already done that for you until we had a chance to visit with you. But this is a short little clip from you, former UTEP head coach Bob Stoll.
Big deal. Hey, congratulations. That's a great opportunity for you. I know you do extremely well. Say hello to Matt Rhodes for me, and I hope things clear up a little bit to come out and see one of your games. So again, congrats. Good luck. Talk to you. Bye.
There's a lot of people that we've talked to about you, so we've done our due diligence. We weren't even the ones hiring you, but we still, of course, that's the way we could cover the hiring of you. But it's crazy, the names that have been, as you mentioned. I'm not trying to go all the way back to them, but we had Frank Beamer yesterday, and so many others that you have had in this ladder to climb to where you are today. Do you sometimes look off and go, my gosh, I've been affected by a lot of people, and some big names, Hall of Fame names, Ken Hatfield as well, R.C. Slocum, among others?
Yeah, I do. And like I said, I've been in touch with those guys here recently. But I think in coaching, most of us are so inundated with the task at hand that we often don't think about that, and we probably take it for granted. I do, until a moment like this arises and you have opportunity to really look back and reflect on the guys who have had that sort of impact on you, and I am incredibly grateful, and I have been blessed to have been around a lot of great coaches and a lot of great people that have really helped me become who I am. And I think if we're smart enough to listen and pay attention and try to apply some of those things, then we have an opportunity to be better men for it.
Coach, we've only gotten to know Dave Aranda just a little bit. Obviously, with the circumstances being what they are, we haven't really been able to be around him. It's mostly been, those Zoom type of meetings. But heading into his second year now, obviously has made some changes. Just what was your impression in talking to Coach Aranda, getting his philosophy on the program and what he's planning and what he's doing and all of that?
So a couple of things. First, Dave and I worked together at LSU, and on opposite sides of the ball, often you operate like almost like different organizations. Sometimes when you're on offense and another guy's on defense, it's like maybe in a big corporation, one guy works in advertising and the other guy's in accounting, and they're on different floors in the building, and they see each other when they pass through the cafeteria or when they go out in the staff parking lot or something like that. But they really don't have a lot of interaction. And I think there was some of that there. And he and I were, when we worked together, we would bounce ideas off of each other. Like I would say, well, what about this play? And what do you think about this? Or he would call me in and say, hey, Grammy, what do you think about this blitz versus 5-man protection? And we would talk through ways that people might try to defeat it. But I really didn't get to know him that well on a personal level. And so I think the thing that I've been most impressed with since, and really it started as we began talking about this job before I even took the job, was just the type of head coach that he is. And I think how much he really is, maybe has always worked in the back of his mind to develop that part of what he would do when he walked into that position. But his identity as a head coach and the type of culture that he's building within the program here has been really impressive to me. And I told him the other day, we had an all-staff meeting, and he spent some time really talking about what our culture should be like and what it should feel like to be a part of Baylor football, and what different facets of the program should be all about. And I said, I've been around a lot of coaches, but not very many, only a couple that have really defined the culture that well. And so I guess the biggest thing is just how impressed I've been with that part of him and how he's handling the transition to be a head coach, and how I'm sure he's growing in that role. And I'm the benefactor of being able to walk in to his second year as a head coach, and we all grow and develop in various roles. But I've been really, really impressed, and I'm excited about working with him to try and build that culture to what we all know it can and should be.
I know you got to go here in a minute. We appreciate your time today, Coach. We really do. Part of your terminology for your offense, the word violent is used. And the offensive linemen, you talked about being the guys that they have to kind of lead the way. How then important, and who is more connected to a strength and conditioning coach, a head coach or an offensive line coach?
I guess it depends on the situation. Some head coaches are really involved with it. Some are not, especially if they've been around for a while, been around the strength coach for a while. They just kind of let the weight guy do his thing. And in that case, when I've been the O-line coach, I've been really involved with it. When I was at BYU, being the offensive coordinator, was actually more involved in it probably than I was when I was a line coach, just because now I'm in charge of half the team. And so what they're doing in terms of their strength and body weight goals and all of that sort of thing, body comp, those things all became more important to me. So I think ultimately the head coach is more connected to everyone within the program, or at least should be. But I know that the coach Randall certainly will be.
Your tight ends caught 171 passes at Brigham Young the last 3 years. There's a couple of pretty good ones coming back. I know that you're trying to work on that position as well. How important is that position in your offense?
Well, I would love to play with a lot of tight ends, but I believe one thing that you should try to do, and it's not the case with everybody. Some offensive coordinators come in and say, "This is my offense. This is what we're going to run." One of the things that I try to do at BYU and we'll do here is build a system that is versatile and flexible enough that we can play the best players. And so if our best players only allow for one tight end to be on the field, then great. If it allows for two tight ends or three tight ends to be on the field, then even better. It allows us to attack the defense in, I think, a greater variety of ways. If you have tight ends who have multiple skill sets, then you can play with 12 personnel, meaning one running back, two tight ends on the field at the same time, and line up in probably more ways than most people can. If you have the kind of tight ends who can line up attached to the core, next to an offensive tackle, and add an extra gap to the run game or in protection, or you can split those guys out and try to create a mismatch in the passing game and see who's going to cover them. That's a lot of fun for me, and so I love playing with multiple tight ends on the field, and something that we had a lot of success with at BYU, and would certainly love to do the same thing here. But if our best personnel group allows for us to have 11 personnel on the field, maybe just one tight end at a time, and have more receivers out there, then we can do that too. But I really like to be multiple in personnel groupings and multiple in formations. And so if we can do that with tight ends, then I think that'd be awesome.
Last question. They didn't have spring drills last year. The first-year head coach, how critical, although we don't know what the future holds, is a spring drill with you coming in now as well, getting to know this team and them getting to know you and the quarterbacks along with everybody else on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think it's of great importance, certainly more for a team that's installing a new offense than a team that's not. And so if that ends up not being the case, then we'll adapt and we'll move forward. And it probably will affect exactly what we're able to do in the fall, particularly how much we can install and how much we can install early. But I promise you we'll find a way to make it work, put some points on the board no matter what we're given.
Jeff, thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it. Welcome to Waco and also to Baylor. Thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Hope to see you soon.
Hey, enjoyed it, guys. Glad to talk with you anytime.
Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes with us on SicEm365 Radio. And
That was Baylor offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes. You can find that anywhere that we've YouTube, Facebook Live, on Twitter, on the app, all over the place on SicEm365.com. Well, come back. We've got the top five at 5:55, plus news and notes from around the day. This is SicEm365 Radio. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. I stopped in there last night just to see. I missed Steve Chapman. He had just left. I just wanted to stop in and say thank you to him. And they still have a good amount. That about half of them are gone, or maybe more. But of the single malt whiskey made in the single barrel for them by Balcones, which is fantastic. I had some of it on New Year's Eve, and I still have most of the bottle because it's I'm treating it very much as a special occasion kind of thing, because it was a single barrel. It was fantastic. It's great, and they have some at Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Plus, a myriad of other spirits, a great selection of wines. I was looking for a bottle of wine for a friend. I couldn't find it. I said, "Where is this?" And then one of the employees walked up and goes, "You mean this one right here? Boom, here you go. Would you like it chilled?" "Yeah, sure, I'd like it chilled." And they gave it to me. Boom, I was out the door. It was great. They've got a convenient drive-through window. They've got craft beer. As far as the eye can see, a fantastic selection. Nobody's got a better variety of craft beer in Waco than Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It's a new year. Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Hi, this is David Smoak, including what you'll need to watch the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl. Ribs, sausage, links, brisket, chicken wings, bags of various snacks, and customized appetizer trays. Don't forget to order something now for the perfect home-cooked Valentine's Day dinner, which is closer than you think, including combo packs with ribeyes, fillets, and lobster tails. Live crawfish season is just around the corner. Absolutely the right time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Waco Custom Marketplace, your family meat market, butcher shop and bakery with everything baked fresh with old-fashioned farmers market atmosphere. Serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
one size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one size fits all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs. Knowing you, that's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Man, it seems like every week there's just something new and something that gives us something to just clamp onto. And, of course, today it was Dave Aranda being available. First time I've heard from him, at least. And I try to monitor all the stuff since the game with Oklahoma State for the most part. Of course, Jeff Grimes also available. We'll have more next week as well as the coaching staff starts to get accustomed to Waco. We'll have Paul's top 5 in a minute. It's too early for it.
It is, but we might need a little extra time today because this one last week's was designed for Armstrong. Armstrong asked me this week to design one for you.
Oh, dear God.
Armstrong, did you watch a single movie from the list last week?
I haven't watched a single movie from the list last week yet. I haven't watched any movies since then, though.
Armstrong,
to be fair.
We need to bury the hatchet on this because it's becoming something that's separating between you and me, is that you block my number during the week, and then we get to Friday about 5:45, and all of a sudden I can send a text to you.
I don't neither confirm nor deny.
God, man.
Those rumors.
Sound like those at Cameron.
Yeah, well.
That's not true, though. I don't block you. Sometimes I do hang up on you when I see the ring. But only if I'm busy. Only if I'm busy.
Oh, Lord. All right.
You don't hang up. You just decline the call.
Decline. That's what
he just ignores it. That's fine. Now, tonight, there's one more high school game left tonight. That's Denton Ryan against Cedar Park. I can't wait to kind of get a part of that. Watch that. Earlier, as we mentioned, Crosby and Aledo, 10th state title, the 56-21 Aledo. All right, Paul, who do we have here?
All right, you want to go ahead? Let's dive
go
into
ahead
it.
and do this.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Let's get it out of the way. Not out of the way because it's not any good. Let's get.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, Smokey, you were unfamiliar earlier this week with Nickelodeon when we were talking about the NFL game on Nickelodeon. So
no, I wasn't unfamiliar with the network. I knew the channel was there.
You're unfamiliar with what was on Nickelodeon and
yes.
what made it its money and why it became so popular. So Armstrong is a kid who grew up in the Nickelodeon era.
Yeah.
Really wanted me to do a top 5 on Nickelodeon shows that you need to be aware of.
Yes.
So, and it's Friday and we do fun ones on Friday. I got a ton of stuff on Twitter that we're going to do this week, and thanks to everybody who did that. But let's do number 1, and this is the guy he's the Mickey Mouse of Nickelodeon. I mean, he's the face of Nickelodeon.
No, that's SpongeBob
SquarePants.
Who you know SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes, you see he's got square pants.
See, you know.
He's got a square head, too.
Yes.
He's a sponge.
All right, his head is a sponge.
Yeah.
No, he is a sponge.
Okay. He lives in a pineapple under the sea.
It's not his head is a sponge. He is a sponge.
Yeah, he works.
When did pineapples grow under the water?
I mean, that's,
Is it growing? It is
there.
on the sea.
It's just there. It's not growing.
Do you have a picture of SpongeBob in the pineapple submarine?
I don't, but it's Bikini Bottom is where he lives.
Yes, he lives in Bikini Bottom.
Bikini Bottom.
And
Craig, when you were watching those machine people, did you ever catch SpongeBob much when you were too old for that?
It was not on TV when I was growing up.
No. Yes, I have young nephews and nieces, and so they're very familiar with SpongeBob.
Yeah, but you also have children.
I don't. I have none.
Okay.
I have none.
SpongeBob.
So
You do that.
Yeah, it's a long time I've had it done. So much Armstrong, the Paul has children thing, fooled my own godfather.
Really?
Called up one day, goes, when did you have a kid? I'm like, why would I not tell you?
Well, I mean, because you couldn't.
I couldn't. All right,
number two.
Number 2. The Rugrats.
I've heard of them. I've heard of them.
The Rugrats.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, that's Tommy.
Is this basically the guy, kind of similar to on Charlie Brown, the guy with the blanket? Or the
Linus?
The guy with the smoke always around him, or the dirt.
Pigpen.
Yeah,
Pigpen.
Yeah.
No, they're babies. No. They're babies who comment on the adult world around them.
Craig, do you have any Rugrat merchandise in.
Yeah, I got boxers and T-shirts and all sorts of.
He's wearing
figures.
them now.
Sic'em365.com. Okay.
No, I mean, I saw that show growing up, but I can't tell you the last time I've seen Nickelodeon at all, except for an NFL highlight. But I definitely, Rugrats has been around for 20 plus years. So.
Yeah, so it's been around a while. All right, number 3 is Doug.
Do you recognize that? Do you recognize Doug?
Not a clue.
Yeah, I like Doug.
Got a big nose.
Yeah.
Is he Italian?
He also has a really
Could be from Poland.
No,
right?
he's not.
Could be.
He
From
has a really flat top of the
he's
head.
a flat top of the head. Doug, his girlfriend is Patty Mayonnaise. They play beet ball, which is like a ball, like the sport they play. The balls are shaped like beets.
Like the purple beets?
Yeah, like the vegetables.
There's not much to a beet.
No, Doug's very chill guy. That's what he looks like all the time. He always wears a
Where do beets are
sweater
beets
vest
grown on trees and plants like
I think
most
they're
vegetables?
roots. I think
okay.
they're
all right, like a carrot or radish. Okay.
All right, number 4. And this one is from, I don't know this one at all. This one is an
They do a
Armstrong
show
special.
11 to 2 on Sic'em365 Radio.
Drake and Josh.
They do. No, this is my show growing up, my age.
Wait a minute. On Nickelodeon.
On Nickelodeon.
These are 2 human beings. That's not fair. Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, live action show. Yeah.
Yeah. What was the premise of this show? It was just 2 young guys and hijinks?
Yes. That is the perfect premise. That is the perfect explanation.
All right, good deal. I've seen I think Drake and stuff now, like he's an adult actor. Not an adult. I mean, he's a grown-up actor.
Yeah.
And he's in stuff. All right, number 5, Double Dare. Now, this one, I'm surprised you don't remember, Smokey. Because
I've heard the phrase double dare.
So we had...
I double dare you.
I interviewed at the Super Bowl in Atlanta a couple years ago, Mark Summers, who's the host of this show.
I know him.
And he was a Food Network guy, a lot.
Yeah,
Chopped. He did Chopped. He was great.
No, that Alvin guy does. Or Alf, what's the guy that does?
Chopped. What was... he does Iron Chef. I think Mark Summers was the first one who did Chopped.
Okay.
But so Mark Summers was the host of this. And Double Dare was a show I dreamed to be on, but I knew my family wasn't athletic enough to win. It's where you have your whole family. So if it was you,
like
you
almost like Family Feud.
Yeah. So it was like Family Feud where you'd answer questions, but then you'd have to do physical challenges. So it would be.
Okay.
So if you and Cindy and Craig and Jennifer could have done it, and then when you got answers wrong, they slimed you and
slime you.
You had to.
That's where the slime thing.
That's what we saw.
Okay.
Yeah. So So Double Dare.
All right.
I really thought I could do well in Double Dare. I thought I could do well in most game shows.
So wait a minute, you had to answer questions. If you got them wrong, you got slimed?
So no, you answer questions and you get up to the physical challenge, and then you win the physical challenge. And at the end, they had this obstacle course where the family would, kind of. It was like an obstacle course relay. It was a pretty fun show.
Isn't there an obstacle course show that came back like in recent? Like what's his name?
Like
the guy that played for the
Wipeout?
University of Miami,
The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson. Doesn't he do one?
Yeah, The Rock does a show.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's
called
on
the-
NBC.
He does,
it's like
actually.
the Warrior Games or something like that.
Like in the
whatever
last year or
games
two,
are.
it's pretty new.
There's like 10 versions of the same
There
thing.
used to be
basically.
there used to be a Superstars type thing that ABC did that was kind of an obstacle
That was like the
course.
1970s, though.
Yeah.
Like that was
I'm 61.
I don't know. That's like 50 years ago.
You remember
Look at
American
that.
Gladiator, Smokey? Do you remember that one?
Yeah, no, that's very similar to the way I do remember it. I used to watch that.
I kind of like the premise. I wish they would bring back American Gladiators where they would get normal people that were athletes and then they have to just athletic, normal, this is Bob. He's run 2 marathons and then he would go and he would do these things and this is Diesel and he would have to fight Diesel.
Go back to that full screen there, Armstrong, because I'm disappointed you have not watched any of the 5 movies, at least one of them, or at least lied about. But, okay, SpongeBob's cool. Rugrats is
cool.
Okay. Doug, I got to get used to. These other guys, why?
Drake and Josh, just living it up.
Okay. Is that almost like...
Are you disappointed that I've seen some of these, but I haven't seen the movies you recommended?
No, I'm just trying to figure out why they fit in this group here, because all the other ones are fake.
Well, so it was a big... I mean,
What do
Nickelodeon
you mean
has...
by fake?
As a
Like,
wide
this is all
variety.
fake.
when Paul that
He's
one
having
time...
a hard time wrapping his mind around live action and cartoons
okay.
being on
Yeah.
the same network when it's...
Yeah, it'd be like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Charlie Brown, so-and-so, and then maybe Joe Biden. I mean, it's a human.
What a channel lineup that would be.
Yeah.
It's not.
I can imagine Joe Biden's show on Nickelodeon. Just signing bills and throwing slime at it.
I think I need to watch. First of all, it wouldn't hurt in this day and age to probably watch more Nickelodeon. Like I watch a lot of the History Channel. I watch a lot of the Food Network. And I do watch some of the Discovery Channel as well.
Yeah.
To kind of just get away from all the other crap you see on TV now. Including this show.
I think you like SpongeBob. He's got a good loyal friend in Patrick, who's a starfish.
I mean, I would have gone Salute Your Shorts, Hey Dude, Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple. Those were most of the shows that I watched growing up. But this was like probably, I mean, I watched a little bit of Rugrats, I guess, a little bit of Doug too. The other, and Double Dare, obviously it's the oldest one. I've seen SpongeBob a few times. It's cool for what it is. It's not like I'm super into it, but it's cool for what it is. And Drake and Josh have no interest in it.
It's no Phineas and Ferb, I would say, which is Disney.
Is SpongeBob, was he a threat? Is it a boy?
Yeah, it's a boy.
Okay.
It's a boy.
Was it a threat ever to The Simpsons? Like they almost knocked him off as a show.
No.
Okay. All right.
So it's a different kind of a thing. Although he is yellow, so he'd fit in well there.
Have The Simpsons aged over the years at all?
No, not at all.
That's the one thing I liked about cartoons is they always stayed the same age.
Yeah, Bart's been in the 5th grade this whole time.
Yeah,
because he's not very smart.
Yeah. Well, Lisa's the smart one. She's been in the 4th grade the whole time. So,
my Lord,
Maggie's still a baby. So,
here's the whole SpongeBob crew. There they are.
Okay.
Yes.
There's is that like is that a giraffe? Who's the one on the top? What is that?
Well, it's under the water, so I guess that'd be a whale.
That's a whale. Okay, there's a whale.
Yeah, and there's a squirrel in a scuba suit.
There's a seaweed on the third from the right.
That Squidward is there. The guy who's kind of saying,
how can they get television reception down underneath the ocean like that?
How can a squirrel talk to a sponge?
Craig is so over this conversation.
I'm so over it because you're asking questions that it's suspend your
I'm sorry,
belief.
I'm trying to have fun with it. I've never watched it.
No, I understand that, but you're like, how can they do these things? It's a cartoon. That's how they can do things underwater. They can do whatever they want to. It's a cartoon.
How come when Wile E. Coyote runs into the rocks, the shape of the hole is his exact of his
because
body?
He's so
how
fast.
come he never dies from all the dynamite? Like, it's a cartoon. That's why.
Do you know where the superconductor, super collider that was going to be built in Waxahachie came from? The idea from Wile E. Coyote being able to run through the rock, and they saw why can't we build something like that if he can do it?
I guess. Sure.
Create
Is that real?
Create a way to like fix the whatever the atom might be. Okay. All right. Good.
All right.
Paul's top 5. What are you going to work on Monday? You know, it's going to be like NFL playoffs.
Yeah, probably NFL playoffs related. And then I've got some suggestions for next week. Mostly these are going to be Friday. Our Friday topics are carried on Twitter by about 10 or so recommendations we got the other day. Armstrong, did you see any of those that we got back?
I didn't see any of them, no.
Yeah, I'll have to send them to you.
Statman and also Scotty B telling us and updating us that the 13th ranked men's tennis team beat Lamar today at the Hawkins Indoor. So they won their match against Lamar. Also, Garland Bear 84. Can you block Bigfoot's number?
Well, see, Bigfoot's he's incognito.
Yeah, he's
Although,
smart.
if he's hanging at a double R, we might be able to finally identify him.
I like how we didn't talk about, but Bigfoot's calls are now sponsored. He went out and got a sponsor for his call. I doubt it.
Yeah. Baylor 88 Bear just posted this on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Every chance I get to listen to your show, I will. I will listen to segments, of course, but I try to listen live when I can. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Baylor Bear 88. And thank you as well to Paula McReynolds, who gave us delivered through one of the delivery services, a dozen yellow roses for this being the 200th show. Craig, do you have a special moment of the 200 shows?
I mean, on the spot like this, no. I haven't given it any thought as far as like a special moment goes.
Right.
So I off the top of my head, no. Just have enjoyed doing it and have enjoyed the opportunity and just all the stuff that's come with it. It's been great. I mean, to be sitting here in these studios less than a year after we had to make a change is just pretty amazing. So, no, I don't have one guest or one show in particular. Just the whole deal's been pretty great.
It's been pretty cool to just call some of these people when we get them on the show. And, look, I'll tell you my biggest, fanboy moment was when we called Tom Glavine for the second or third time. And I was like, hey, Tom Glavine, it's Paul Catalina. He's like, hey, man, good to talk to you again. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's just great. I'm glad we can, and he was great. I think my most nerve-wracking moment was the fact that I had to call Kurt Schilling like 72 times. But It's weird. And
but he was great.
He was great.
He was great. And the names that we've had, and the 200 is great. Now 201 is important on Monday, among many others. But this was a dream. And again, we're not like this is, we appreciate it. 200 is because Craig kept up with the episodes. Armstrong then mentioned earlier in this week that Friday would be our 200th episode. And again, this was a dream, not of us. We didn't even know this existed. It didn't. But Brian Etheridge and Ashley Hodge and Colt Barber always wanted to continue to grow the website at SicEm365.com. It's only about, 5 years old or so. And the next thing you know, because of something that was unfortunate, where all three of us in March 18th were no longer a part of radio or media, this happened. And it happened quickly. From March the 18th, the day when Paul and Craig left the building earlier in the day, and both of them seemed to be as relieved as humanly possible about it, but still tough. And then me later on that afternoon, March 18th, and we were back. We started a show on April the 6th. And here we are, this amazing studio that was in Armstrong? Early September is when you started, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And even like earlier this week, the two images in the back, these are they're not images, they're actually cut out art with the SicEm365 logo and what we have in the background. And of course, you see the Ideal MRI, our title sponsor, Petty Clinic, the studio sponsor, and Texas Farm Bureau Insurance is our broadcast center sponsor as well. We appreciate Carl Ellis, Mike Garrick, and those McLennan County agents as well. All right. Anything else, guys? Baylor just offered DJ Allen from Gladewater. He's a wide receiver, put up about 23 yards per catch. Heck of a player. He just mentioned out of Gladewater, Texas, that he was also a part of the offers as they are throwing them out left and right. No question about it right now. All right, Paul, who do we have today?
We had, we replayed Jeff Graham, just going in reverse order.
I'll open up with Dick Vitale.
Yeah, Dick Vitale. We had Carlos Lynn from Cedar Hill.
Grayson
Grunehafer. Jason King.
Jason King was on the show. We replayed Jeff Grimes from earlier in the week as well. And also, it's been another week with a lot of news, a lot of stories, a lot of this and that. And next week, we'll just keep on covering and try to get new information and also have a chance to maybe visit with some of those who are joining the staff or have joined the staff at Baylor. Craig, anything else?
No, that'll do it.
All right, for Craig Smoak, for Paul Catalina, thanks to Armstrong Sims and all of our great sponsors 9 months into this episode 200. Thank you very much for watching and listening whenever you do, however long it might be. Have a great weekend. I'm David Smoak. For everyone, good night on SicEm365 Radio. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.